What up, YouTube? Are thoughts more interesting than perfection? It's your boys, Detroit Love, P-Dubs Arcade Love, Michael B. the Game Genie, and Nostalgia with another episode of the Super Game Room Dudes Friday Night Just Got Live.
What a week it was in the world of arcades and gaming. Here we are. CES 2025 is wrapped. And I got to say, guys, although if you think about it, when it comes to our niche, there were only really 3 companies that did stuff. MyArcade, as well as Glen's Retro Show, and Media OneUp. And despite the fact that we didn't have like dozens of products to talk about like we've had in the past CES, I am exhausted. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we've run a marathon this week. And I got to say, yeah, go ahead.
I know, P-Dubs, shilling ain't easy.
I mean, think about it, guys, the community. You had Glen's got 1 product. John D's got 1 product, just 2 skins. MyArcade has a bunch of products that they showed off, and some of them were actually kind of interesting, and that's coming from a guy who actually hates MyArcade products. I don't like MyArcade products. I've always thought they were cheap Walgreens crap, but there were a few things they showed at CES that I actually thought, when I saw other people's coverage, looked pretty cool. There were brawls in their booth. There was all kinds of crazy shit that happened at CES. But on top of all that, guys, we are here. It is Friday. You're tuning into your favorite arcade and gaming podcast show, as always, the Super Game Room Dudes. I'm your host, P-Dubs. With me, as always, Detroit Love, Steven Nostalgia, Michael B., the Game Genie. Boys, how was the week that was for you guys? I'm freaking tired.
Well, I want to start out with a disclosure. I just want to say, hey, just because you see that CES doesn't mean it's going to be a reality in the market. Just a possibility. But my week was fantastic, man. We got some snow today, which I didn't like, but other than that, I'm glad it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
What about you, Nostalgia?
Man, my week was great. I don't know why you're so damn tired. I didn't have any issues at all. In fact, I don't even know what has happened over the span of CES at all. Completely stayed off the internet. So,
you know what's funny, Mike? We've been broadcasting with Steven for 3 years, and in that 3 years, do you actually believe him when he says, I don't know what's going on?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes
there's
I
only
don't.
one right answer.
There's only one right
There is only one right answer.
Yeah.
Mike.
So here's the truth. If you ask Nostalgia a question, no matter what the actual reality is, he's going to answer like a douchebag intentionally.
That is true.
That's pretty accurate. Okay, fair.
Well, that is true. Man. Like I'll ask him, like, "Hey, did you catch the latest Star Wars television show episode?" And he will respond to you, "What's Star Wars?" You know, what I mean? He does it all the time, and it makes my blood boil, and that's why he won't stop doing it. But I love you for it, man. I'm so glad you're back.
There were sex robots at CES. You're telling me Nostalgia didn't follow that?
I actually saw one literally like an hour before our show. I was like scrolling through like Facebook, and there was one where people, what is it called? I sent it in the chat. I can't remember the name of it. It was called give me 2 seconds. I'll find it.
Same thing he says to his wife. Give me 2 seconds.
I will find it.
How did that get in there?
Coupon code for such a robot there? Steven Nostalgia?
They're very well, maybe. I don't know. I saw it and I was like, what is this thing? Hold on. I don't know where it is anymore.
Well, while he's looking, guys, real quick, just a quick comment. If you guys go to Detroit Love's channel, he posted a video. He recorded himself playing Golf Plus. And now that he's addicted to Golf Plus, we're not going to see him on the Nintendo Switch playing PGA Tour ever again. And I got to say, there was almost gamer rage. Like, if you guys go watch the video, it's only like, what, a 15-minute video that he posted. He keeps screwing up his shots and landing in the crowd and stuff, and you could hear him getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and I was waiting for him to pop off. You guys definitely want to check it out. The best thing about Detroit Love is in the winter, he's not outside exercising or riding the e-bike. He's making videos again, right, guys?
He is.
And his thumbnail game has gotten very impressive. Good job, Carl.
Yep.
Oh, thanks, man. Every week you give me a compliment. I appreciate it.
It's
Now,
deserved.
now, gentlemen, just to shift back to the more important topics, the product's actually called the Motor Bunny, and it's like a saddle that you can sit on. You can put different attachments on. You can sit on it, but it has a little connector that you plug into your PS5 controller. And depending on what you do in the game, it does a whole bunch of different stuff to you, which is wild.
Well, I don't get that because I don't sit on anything.
Yeah.
Well, someone else can sit on it, Carl. It doesn't have to be you.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I mean, we do it.
understand what is happening.
Now, we do have a complaint to make to all the YouTubers who went to CES, and I mean all of you. I think you guys were too scared to cover the sex robots.
That's what I'm talking about.
I would've
Like,
been
where
ball-
was all the sex robot coverage?
I would have been balls deep in that coverage.
Oh, Mike.
Oh my God.
As you guys know, the Super Game Room Dudes is an R-rated podcast show. This show is not for children. So just a heads up reminder there. There's our disclaimer. But yeah, that was, I'm like, where's all that coverage?
The other thing I kind of want to shame the people who went to CES a little bit. Like, while you were busy spending 2.5 days in John D's suite, me and P-Dubs were covering all the news and getting all the views.
And that you guys did do. That is for certain.
Remember when P-Dubs used to scold us for cussing? So what's funny about that, Hermano, is back when we started doing this show, I've always had a mouth like a sailor. I've always sweared and cursed on stream, and I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. So guess what, guys? Dick and fart jokes, anti-authority movies, anti-authority pop culture. That's what it was all about. That's the environment we grew up in, right? And you think we're going to drop that just because a bunch of millennials are running the world now? You know what I mean? So, what's funny is some people get offended by that stuff, and I respect that, but also I don't give a shit because that's what's called free speech. But where I was going with that is when these guys decided to join me for the broadcast, they both told me on day one, they said, P-Dubs, if we're going to be on your show and we're doing this 4-man thing, we can't swear. We can't swear. It's going to offend everybody. We can't do it. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll tone it down since you guys
I
are
actually
coming on
don't
the
remember it going quite like that.
No,
Yep.
not at all.
that-
It's better
and
for
that-
this way.
And it lasted like about 2 months. And then after that, Nostalgia's dropping F-bombs. Michael B's telling the most inappropriate jokes on stream.
Even
Crazy.
Laura come on and dropped a few F-bombs.
Yeah.
I think the channel kind of went sideways when you started talking about stand-uppers in the garage. I think that's really when the entire dynamic
All
of the
gloves
show
were literally off. at that point.
veered really hard right.
Yeah.
So you know how you got a mouth like a sailor? I got a penis like a sailor. It's
Oh,
been
God.
with woman in every port.
Oh, jeez.
Stay away, friends.
So tonight we're going to wrap up a little bit. Now, although we're going to kind of highlight Glen's FU multi-cade, and we're going to highlight the Media OneUp. Keep in mind, guys, we have been talking your ears off about that all week, except for a couple guys on this panel. I want to get their opinions on those products. But there's a couple other things that happened this week that we want to touch on, especially the MyArcade stuff. They had some interesting stuff. I definitely want to talk about that mini pinball machine that they're coming out with.
What's the
And,
name on that?
Balls of Steel, which, you know what I mean? And then also, like, guys, do we offend you? If we offend you, you can go watch something else. I mean, we try. I mean, guys, what are we supposed to do? I mean, there's only so
are
much
adults
censorship
here.
you can allow, But also, and we've made it clear that this show isn't a family-friendly show and that this show is for, adults. And this show targets a male audience between the ages of 40 to 65 years old. You know what I mean? Like,
And we're
I don't.
leading off with a FU as the
Yeah.
product.
And the first product we're going to talk about is named FU.
That's
And
right.
then-
So
and,
FU chat, FU audience.
yeah, we definitely want
FU's
to
for
talk.
everybody.
We're going to highlight the week that wasn't for Arcade1Up, as well as the Alice Wonderland pinball Kickstarter, things like that. So you know what I mean. All that stuff. So.
Well, before we start, we do want to get a congratulations out to the Detroit Lions, who are kings of the North for 2 years in a row, the #1 seed in the NFC. And so they had a great week last Sunday, and we got a bye this week, so no Detroit football this week. So back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, big shout out to the Detroit Lions. They're my pick, and I hope they win for Detroit love. I hope they win, man. So hope they go all the way. I hope they win out. So what else can you do when you're a Bears fan? Oh.
And they still keep making those little memes like, hey, we're going on a road trip. I'm in. Then it's like the Bear. They're like, no. I don't know if you've seen any of those B-dubs.
Yeah, and also, let's do our shout-outs real quick, guys. You want your shout-outs? Speak now, forever hold your peace. We got, man, already 187, closing in on 200 people here, and we've only been live for 10 minutes. You guys rock, man. We appreciate your support so much. I can't believe that even after how long this show has been on and how long this show has been, mirrored and used as a template for others and inspired others to make shows. And what's funny is you guys are still here. You guys haven't left us, so we appreciate it.
Well, most of us appreciate it for all the views. So
most of us appreciate it.
What was that?
I said most of us appreciate it. Mike doesn't.
Yeah, Mike doesn't.
No, we pay. These are all bots. We paid for this.
By the way, I did, before we went live today, I did double check and make sure that the mid-roll ads were turned off, everybody.
No, you didn't. I told you I didn't put them on tonight.
I went into the YouTube studio and I turned off mid-roll ads because, unlike Mike, I care about the viewers, unlike Mike.
I literally said I didn't put them on tonight. I intentionally did it, and you're going to take credit for that. It's like you the other day when you were like, so anyways, I made a video, and then afterwards Glen wrote me and said, I'm going to change it to a 26 screen because of you, Dubs. And then Glen comes out and goes, yeah, it's the Michael B. Arcade.
Someone asked me if this is a Hawk Tua cup. No, it's not. It's just some movie theater cup. Movies, bowling. It's just some movie theater cup that I have over here. I make sure I have silent cups, unlike some of the other people who I broadcast with, who have loud fucking cups and loud fucking keyboards. There we go. I did our 2 F words.
It's the same person who doesn't appreciate the audience, actually.
And then we also have, oh yeah, so where was I going? Oh yeah, I was getting ready to do the shout outs. All right, let's see who's here. Thumper Squid, JJ, Skids is here, Zero Cool, Brady Goat, Meatball Saucy, Sir Sega, Retro Dude, Carl Young, Console Kits, OneUp Kyle. We haven't seen OneUp Kyle in a while. What's up, Kyle? I don't think I've seen you in a bit. Let me know if I'm wrong. Mr. Clutch is here as well. I think he's been shamed enough. Let's help. Danny's coming in under his alt accounts, guys. Chris C is here. Glen's Retro Show, Mad Dog, Mike Hawkhurts, Console X Arcade, Rebel, Gramps Arcade, Thumper Squid, Dr. Funk, Frankie D, Steps Gaming, Jason Little Alien moderating, Console Kits moderating, JR moderating, Ritual Dello moderating. Everyone's got a wrench. Mike Hawkhurts, Meatball Saucy, Chris NXXW, MG with that sweet. Every time he types something in the chat, guys, read it in a British accent. It's so much better because it's so true.
One problem with MG, though, he swears too much. It's really a sign of his low education.
Stock Jock has made the age limit. The oldest YouTuber in our niche. Make sure you guys subscribe to Stock Jock. We love Stock Jock. Brooklyn Menace is here. And I have to say, Brooklyn Menace, thanks so much for being so welcoming to letting other people play games with you. There's so much gatekeeping out there. I hung up my MetaQuest 3, Mike. The VR gatekeeping was out of control. I hung it up. And do you know why I hung it up? Because that sumbitch needed charged. I'm going to play some VR later on tonight.
apparently, when you go into VR, you need to be mindful and be reminded of the people and how long they've been playing. Like, new people aren't allowed in. Only the people that were playing since day one, apparently.
Atul is here. What's up, Atul? We
He
love
hasn't
you, man.
watched us live in years.
Yeah, Jim, the Pacers fan, one of my all-time favorites, is here as well. Justin Miles is here. Good stuff, guys. Paul Mindeman's here, ready for us just to talk about Media One-Up and Arcade One-Up, and then he's going to bolt.
He's not going to be happy because this entire episode is all about handhelds. We've got the RG34XX we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the RG35XX
We got the top-down
SP that we're going to talk about. We got the Nintendo 3DS XL modded edition that we're going to talk about. Man, you came to the wrong show, buddy.
Yeah, this is a retro gaming channel, home arcade channel. I mean, we just like playing retro games, right? And whenever we talk about a different way to play games, people have a panic attack, right? The whole point of gaming is you're playing games. It doesn't matter if you're doing it on VR, if you're doing it on a PC, if you're doing it on a console, a retro system, a handheld, as long as
Or
you're
a flip
playing
phone.
games, an arcade, as long as you're playing games and having fun, right? Isn't that what
Yeah,
it's
these
all
people are
about?
going to be really mad when we switch to exclusively VR next week. So tune in to Super VR Dudes.
We are going to be doing a VR sister show that is launching very, very soon. And I put that out there just to make them panic, Mike, just to make them panic, even though it's 100% not true. But yeah, it's 100% not going to be broadcast on Wednesday nights. Right, Mike?
Super VR Duo.
All right, let's dive into some of our topics here, man. We've already wasted 20 minutes, but guys, we're going to go slightly long tonight, but we do have an automatic redirect set up. So when our broadcast ends, we're going to send you over to Galga Guy 88's channel, Galga Guy 88, one of our favorites in the community, also a member of the Arcades Anonymous. He's going to be doing an interview with Glen, Glen's retro show. So you never know, maybe Glen and Galga Guy will end up having a really cool discussion. I'm hoping Glen gave him some reveals or something for the FU multicade coming out. So we'll send
Glen
you over there automatically when this show ends.
Glenn gave me a big reveal when we talk about this in a minute. I'm very excited to share it.
Oh, don't steal his thunder. We stole
I'm not
people's thunder
stealing
all week, Mike.
anybody's thunder. I love
We ruined
Gallagher Guy.
everyone's thunder.
And he's going to
Brooklyn
stick with
Menace.
he's going to stick with the FU and not the like.
Oh,
4U.
he is sold on the FU name. He will not
Numeral
back
4U.
down.
The name of the new show will be We Love Brooklyn Menace. And then
Honestly, I do a VR show with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, are you free Monday? Come on, chill and chat with Michael B. Let's talk VR.
Why don't you ever invite me onto your chillin' chats?
Because I always invite you on. You're
no,
like,
no,
"Sorry,
no, no,
I
no. Don't
can't
make
come on. I'm
excuses.
doing secret work for the CIA."
Well, let's kick off the show real quick with a real quick topic, and that was, let's just react real quick. Guys, do you think Arcade1Up just completely dropped the ball CES? I mean, they could have announced something, but they didn't announce anything, except the only announcement was, hey, guys, Fast and the Furious is back in stock, and by back in stock, we mean maybe 380 units arrived at the port. So it wasn't like, you know, oh my God, we got 20,000 of these things back in stock. Go get them. A one container with a few hundred machines arrived. And it's actually been selling though, Mike. It's been selling. I heard from some guys who they like to do that Shopify trick where they try to figure out how many units are left, or Amazon trick, whatever it is. And I guess, you know, a couple hundred of them did actually sell this CES, but there's maybe like 100 some left available, something like that. But this was it. This was it. Like, guys, should we just remove Arcade1Up from all future broadcasts? Let us know. And let me get your guys' thoughts on the panel. Let's start with Nostalgia. I mean, this is CES week, and this is it. This was it. What do you think, buddy? Let's get that comment off his face so he can talk.
Yeah, no, I think they did a great job here. I'm thankful that they brought this product back for 380 people, and quite honestly, I think they stole the show. They came in strong, and they've clearly done some due diligence on the marketing side, and well played, Arcade1Up.
They made Glenn and John look like assholes at CES because Glenn and
Straight
John were
away.
like, "Look at these awesome new products." And Arcade1Up was like, "Yeah, we got Fast and the Furious." Mic drop.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think this is dumb. The fact that they even announced it during this week, or I don't know when they announced it. You said they announced it this week.
They announced
good
it first day of CES. Yeah.
Yeah, good for them that they got 380 units on a whatever brought in
It's-
that they can sell.
It's completely tone deaf, right? Because really, if you don't have anything to announce during this like big announcement cycle, it's best not to do anything. They could have waited till next week. Like this just makes them look stupid, right?
It looks stupid for those waiting for something from Arcade
Yep.
1Up, but from like their perspective, they had 380 units to sell. Why wait till next week to sell them, right?
Yeah.
So-
Carl, why don't you jump in on this? And I got a couple things I want to say about it, even though I already did a 10-minute video on an email.
What am I jumping in on?
Fast and the Furious Arcade1Up announcement.
No, I know nothing about this. It's actually a cabinet I just had absolutely no interest in at all. Even though, you know, I like the driving games, I got pole position. If they had a pole position at this size, I would be extremely interested. But this cabinet never showed up on my radar at all.
So, I mean, the thing I was excited about for this, and now I'm actually, I didn't know about the stock. So it's actually disappointing was this is one of the cabs that never came to Canada. So when they announced that there was going to be more stock of Fast and the Furious, one of the positive takeaways was, hey, at least people in Canada who never got a crack at this could get it. But 380 means zero chance of that happening. One thing what makes this cab so good is the fact that there's so many companies out there that did like racing mods to this. I think like Retro Lizard did one, Buy Stuff Store did one. So everybody gets these and then mods them. And that's really where the excitement comes in on these driving cabs. As for the games, we've covered this in detail. It's really only one game. Even though it's only one game, some people have picked it up and love it. They say it's an excellent cab. Other people are disappointed about the games. Like, you guys know 19K Fox went all in, bought two of them, then, you know, ended up selling both of them. So, I don't know. It's a bit of a mixed bag. The game is apparently good. Apparently, it's basically a continuation of the Cruising USA series, but done with Fast and the Furious. It's fun to play, but we're talking about how many? 380 cabs. Like, that's nothing. That's like new old stock they found in a warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Now, can I jump in here for a second?
Of course.
You guys are making it seem like they announced this for CES. And
It's the only thing that I know, but it's the only thing that happened during CES week.
Yeah. I was just going to say, because I'm pretty sure Arcade1Up sends out like a weekly newsletter, don't they? Like every single week. Yes, they do. 100%. 100%.
For someone who doesn't pay attention to anything, you seem very, very certain.
Arcade1Up sent an email January 7th. They sent one on December 31st. They sent one on December 25th. They sent one on December 20th. They sent one on December 18th. December 17th, December 9th.
Nostalgia.
That's what I'm saying, is like it's every 7 days. So the fact that they sent one out this week isn't that really shocking.
I already addressed this. I know that it's hard to follow when other people are talking, but I said, I think this is just a bad timing thing. I don't think this was planned as a CES announcement. It's just tone deaf.
No, you literally said they're terrible for doing this, Mike. Those were your exact words. We can play back the video.
That is what I said, isn't it?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Woo!
My favorite thing. My favorite thing that happened from all this, we all love Phil, PD7 in the community. He made a video where he was trying to defend this, and he was like, fact, this is more than they did for CES last year.
Oh man, I tagged him in a Discord thread today. I was like, Phil, why do you always upload your videos at 3:30 a.m.? No one is on the toilet at that time. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's crazy.
Except for some of us, right? But yeah, that's all that happened with Arcade1Up. So we're gonna move on. Real quick, I got a game recommendation for you guys. This game is on Steam. I'm just going to show this trailer real quick. I want to get the guys' thoughts about this as well. This is a game that actually got released in 2023 on Steam. It's one of those what you call newer retro arcade-like games that are inspired by games of the past, kind of like Anna Lynn and Donut Dodo and things like that. And I saw Prince Malcolm was playing this game on his Polycade, right? The Polycade right behind me. So, but keep in mind this is on Steam, so he was running it off Steam on his Polycade. But let me pull this up. This is a game called Guard Grave. It's been out since 2023. I never heard of it before. And this is literally if Burger Time and Ghosts and Goblins had a baby. it would be this game. So imagine Burger Time and Ghosts and Goblins together. And this game is super, super fun. I bought it today. So big shout out to him for that game recommendation. I saw him showing it off. I was like, dude, this game looks really, really interesting. I don't know if one of the moderators can find a Steam link for this game to throw in the live chat. But if you guys like Burger Time and Ghosts and Goblins and want to try this fun modern arcade game, it's only like $5 on Steam, guys. So
Oh, that looks neat.
You could play it on your multicades, provided you have your Steam hooked up, stuff like that. Mike, what are your thoughts on this? I know I wanted to get your guys' opinion. Do you guys think I'm being too cheesy here? I think it looks really, really cool.
No, it's one of the things I liked about the iArcade when they found these games that weren't retro games, but were really good fit for their console. So this looks interesting. You said it's a mix between Ghosts and Goblins and Burger Time. I see the Burger Time thing because they're dropping things. Also reminds me a lot of Snow Bros, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see that in there, too. What about you, Nostalgia? You like the look of this one?
No.
Come on, man. Look at the top hats.
I don't.
Look at
I'm
the
sorry,
top
guys.
hats.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay, you hate this, so
I
you're a
don't,
hater.
I don't
That's
hate
fine.
it. It's just not my jam. I'm not really a big Burger Time guy. I do like Ghosts and Goblins, but I kind of see what Mike was saying. It's more, I guess the theme is more like Ghosts and Goblins, but this definitely looks Snowbro type of, it's got like a Snowbro vibe. So
But you're beating guys with hammers, dude. Come on
you
now.
sure are.
Whatever. Ritual Dell loves that game. There you go. Finally, I got some support in the chat. Come on, guys. Come out of the woodwork. Support P-Dubs.
I gotta play these games. The issue is like when I watch a video of them, I'm like, yeah, that could be fun. But unless I actually get my hands on it and start playing it, then I don't know. I don't really fall in love with a game until I've played it.
So if we're gonna talk about some modern games, I got a notice earlier from my Steam wish list. A recently released game is now on sale. Isn't getting the kind of reaction that a lot of people hope for, but it's a beat 'em up that I think Nostalgia would be interested in, and that is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind is now on sale. That'd be a good one for your Polycade dubs, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to pick that one up on Steam and play it with like a Arcade joystick, or I got my Nintendo, what is it, the 8-bit joystick. So that's one I'm looking at getting this weekend, possibly.
That does look like a really fun game.
I know how much you love Power Rangers.
Oh, I'm a Power Rangers harpy, whatever they were called.
Yeah.
Prince Malcolm says here, and keep in mind, guys, Prince Malcolm back when the iArcade was, kind of moving along, chugging along. Prince Malcolm was one of the guys who was helping find really fun games and reaching out to developers for them for that platform. And this is by the same developer that created the successor to Sunset Riders, Death Wish Enforcers. There you go. Thanks so much, Prince. I saw it in the Polycade Facebook group. I saw you shared it. I was like, that game looks cool. I never heard of it. So yeah, now I'm a little hooked on it. Okay, let's move on here. Let's do another quick one. Alice Goes to Wonderland Kickstarter is going to be coming very, very soon. Plus, we got some artwork reveal. And did Detroit Love or Nostalgia catch the news on that? I know Mike and I did.
No, I did not see anything on that. I would love for you to show it to us.
I would love to show it too. I got to pull it up here in a minute. So, Mike, why don't you stall for time while I pull it up, as I'm unprepared for this segment?
Yeah, so the guys at Wonderland have been kind of interesting. They were originally supposed to go to CES, and they pulled it back a little bit. And I think that was a wise move because I don't think they're really ready for a CES reveal at this point, especially knowing what we know now. So an email went out to all the people that Peter reaches out to, gave us an update on what's going on. So we found out about the Kickstarter, which we're going to show you in a second. We got to look at the artwork, which I really want to get into because it's good. And I think it'll look nice on the machine, but I don't know if it's pinball artwork. That's the conversation I really want to have there. And you'll see why in a minute. It looks really good, though. And then the other thing I wanted to kind of touch on was they're actually headed back to Asia for, did they say is Asia or China they're going to for a second run through on the test of the prototype. So I know they put a piece in there about Jerry in all his years going back and forth testing these prototypes. He says he's never been this excited for this.
Hold on. Sorry, guys. We have to do this. He is here. He's arrived. Guys, if you're a wrestling fan, you know that whenever Roman Reigns enters the building, we acknowledge him. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike of all trades has entered. We acknowledge you, Moat. Moat is here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much. Big shout out to Moat in the chat. All right, keep going. Sorry, guys, to interrupt you. That's important. We have to acknowledge it.
Mike,
So
I was
go
going to
ahead,
just
Steve.
ask you a quick question. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean by when you say it's not pinball artwork. Can you just explain to me what you mean by that? Like, what's the hubbub?
So,
hubbub
if you take a look at a lot of the images and different things like that, it's very dark. It's like one of the concerns about the new Dungeons and Dragons. Like, it's beautiful in a lit room, but when you think pinball, you think of dark rooms, and usually pinball machines are done with all kinds of bright colors. You look at the other Alice in Wonderland Boobies in the Backglass table that came out this past year, and you'll notice like it's really rich with all kinds of different colors. I don't see it in the art, but this is just the back glass. So I'm interested to see what they do with the rest of the table. And I do hope they keep that in mind. Like, this art is beautiful, but you need more like the pink coming out of the giant worm there and stuff like that. You need bright colors to really make your machine pop.
You mean just like all the colors seem very muted?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I had a guy. Go ahead,
Mike,
Carl.
just real quick. So just refresh my memory. This is the project that attempts to get a pinball under $1,000.
That's right. Yeah, it's a physical pinball machine they're making for under $1,000.
So what I made a quick video after we got the news that hey, we have a placeholder for the Kickstarter, as well as we're going to talk real quick about the status of their prototype 2.0. But on my videos, someone made a comment on my video, and you know how when someone tells you something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of like, for instance, Wolverine's mask. If you look at it and someone tells you, hey, it's just 2 pictures of Batman kissing, you never unsee it. You know what I mean? You guys have seen that meme, right?
Yes.
Like, I can't unsee it. Like, even in the Deadpool movie, when he put the hood up, the first thing I saw were 2 Batmans kissing. You know, because once someone tells you something, it just sticks in there. But someone made a comment on my video and they said, I love the artwork except for Alice because she looks like she's a zombie. It looks like it's zombie Alice, right? And I didn't really think about it, but now I can't unsee it, right? Now I understand she's supposed to be scared or something, but he's like, I hope they tweak her so she doesn't look as undead as she does in this particular
like a
photo.
lot of gray in her skin.
Yeah, like she kind of looks like a corpse, and now I can't freaking unsee it. Now I can't see it. It's zombie Alice.
Do people not understand the massive drug influence that's involved with the story of Alice in the Wonderland? Like, everything about Alice is a girl on a massive trip. So, I mean, that looks like a girl on a massive trip to me. I don't know.
It certainly does. Mike, you're right.
She looks like she's tweaking. So maybe it is story accurate, but I didn't see it at first, right? Because maybe I wasn't like just focused on her face. I was like looking around. I was like, I think the Mad Hatter looks great. I love the way the White Rabbit looks, you know, and even the Evil Queen back here screaming at people. I think she looks pretty cool, right? I didn't notice that like Alice looked like a zombie. So I don't know if they'll tweak that or not. But the overall style of the artwork, I do like. And yes, I like boobies on the back glass. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Dutch Pinball's Sexy Alice. I think it's really, really cool. But then again, not every version of Alice needs to be the Halloween store costume version of Alice, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think every version of everything should be the Halloween costume and stuff. Just make everything slutty.
Yeah. But guys, let us know in the chat, besides Alice looking like a zombie, what do you think about the artwork style here? We're going to get the full reveal. I'll talk about that here in a minute. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, so I mean, Michael mentioned earlier about this looking dark from a brightness or lack of brightness concept, but the artwork here to me looks dark when you talk about sinister, or you know what I mean. And then the Wonderland is a very dark story if you think about it. You know what I mean? Off with his head and all this crazy stuff that I remember as a kid. It's like, wow, this is a pretty crazy cartoon, or story or concept. So I think from that, and again, this is just a picture, right?
Well, we think it's probably the back glass, Carl.
I think this is the back glass,
right? But I'm saying, but there's no light behind this back glass.
That's right. It's not illuminated.
So it would look totally different, if this was illuminated from the rear as well. So.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. There's a way to do dark, but also do vibrant, so it looks good as a pinball machine. Spooky Pinball are experts at this. They just did an Evil Dead, which is one of the darkest, grimiest movies of all time, and the machine is stunning and doesn't move away from that sinister aspect while still being bright and vibrant. Again, this is only the back glass art. I can't wait to see the rest of the machine, but like looking at this, I was like, oh, it's really dark. Like I didn't see a lot of color. I'm just saying that up front. But again, once we see the machine with the artwork on it, which they're telling us we're going to see soon, it might be a completely different story.
It just sounds like you guys are so judgmental. That's what it is.
Personally,
It
I
looks
love
wonderful.
it.
It
Hey,
looks wonderful.
I love the artwork. I'm just saying that once someone told me she looks like a zombie, I haven't been able to unsee it. You know what I mean? Just like Wolverine's mask.
I love
love
the
it.
big image
I
of the
love it.
cat with the stuff coming out of the eyes. I think that is awesome.
So
And I
there
agree
is.
because
Oh,
even
go ahead,
before
Carl.
you said that, even before you mentioned that, I was looking at her the whole time, like, why does she look like that? It does catch you.
So they did put the placeholder up for the Kickstarter. I have that. Put that link in the live chat. There is some interest. You'll notice the email went out yesterday saying, "Hey guys, if you're interested, follow the Kickstarter. You got to log into your Kickstarter account, click the notify me on launch button." 310 people have clicked it so far. So there is some interest. People are following. But then again, this has only been out for 24 hours. If you guys are interested, go ahead and follow it. So basically what's happening, Prototype 2, their email announcement was, hey, we're heading off to Hong Kong. We're going to look at Prototype 2. Prototype 2 of the machine will have the full artwork wrap on the machine, on the pinball table itself, as well as the game code will be implemented into the pinball machine, as well as they're going to do play testing and see how everything performs. If everything performs the way they want it, they're going to launch this Kickstarter in March. Now, obviously, that still means you're looking at a later 2025 delivery date before these things come out. But we could actually see this Kickstarter go live for 3/4 scale real mechanical pinball. So technically, in my opinion, if it's a 3/4 scale pinball machine, it falls under the home arcade category, right? Which is why we're covering it. So this could go live here by March. What are you guys' thoughts about that, Mike?
Well, I'm not that familiar with Kickstarter. I don't kickstart a lot of projects, but so one of the things I'm wondering about this, I'm in Canada. I'm wondering how much shipping is going to be because that's always the deal breaker for me with this stuff. So, does the Kickstarter cover the shipping up front? Like, if I back it, like, are they going to give me a realistic example of how much it's going to cost to get this fucking thing to my house?
I don't
They're
know. I'm
usually-
assuming so.
Yeah, I've seen Kickstarters where they're pretty good about it. Well, they'll be like they'll have the price, the approximate price for US, and then international rates too. So hopefully they do that.
Good.
And,
And I'm
I-
interested in what the price is going to be offered as, because if you're saying retail, it's going to be $1,000 or nine something. You typically with a Kickstarter, there's an incentive for those who help launch it to get it even cheaper. Typically cheaper for multiple units, you get even cheaper prices. So it'd be interesting to see what the price on Kickstarter is.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of extras they're going to do with it as well, because with Kickstarter, you can't just put a machine up. You need tiers, right? So are they going to do a topper? Are they going to do, other stuff that comes with it? That'll be interesting as well.
It'll be interesting to see all that for sure. Now, I got a great question here, and I want to ask Carl because I think this would impact Carl more than any of us. Carl, this is the same company that did a Kickstarter for their shuffle golf game. The Kickstarter was fulfilled, it met the backer goal, and then they turned around and they canceled the Kickstarter and decided not to move forward with the project, even though the Kickstarter was fully backed.
Same company?
Yeah, Think Up. So
Ooh.
what's funny
Oh, I didn't know
is this is the same people. So because of that, Carl, you backed them once before, and unfortunately they let you down. And the reason I asked Carl, guys, Carl is the only guy I know that backed that project. How does that make you feel? Would you trust them, or do you feel maybe they'll learn from their mistakes? Like, what are your thoughts here? Because apparently the reason they canceled it was because they couldn't get the machine made or something.
I don't get what the reasoning they gave there.
The
I
reasoning
definitely
was
would-
they mispriced it. They thought they could get it made for a certain price, and then when the Kickstarter started, they went back over to China and they were like, "So we got a deal here," and they were like, "No, this is going to cost you much more." So they canceled the whole project, and ThinkUp actually went out of business after that.
Right. That's what I thought they were out of business. So I'm surprised you're saying they're the same company.
No, they're not. They're not the same company. ThinkUp is dead. So Jerry is now working with
brand new company,
yeah,
same guys. Brand new company, same guys.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that unless they address that or apologize for that. But I think that was not the right way. I mean, obviously the cost, if the cost was different, then they could have offered that to the people that, you know what I mean? If it was just more money for it, then why not give us an opportunity to say, hey, I still would back that at this price, but to just dissolve it, I thought was weird.
Did you get your money back, Carl? How does that work with Kickstarter?
I don't think you're billed until the end of the campaign.
We didn't pay money yet because they killed it before the money would have withdrawn. So that's a good thing that they did that, because some people actually collect your money and then just don't do the project at all, right? So
and then are you out?
Yeah, you're just out, and that's the risk with these fundraisers.
Yep. Oh man,
I've lost money on a Kickstarter before too. I was pretty pissed off.
Money on one project where they were making a bike helmet that looked like a baseball cap, but it actually collapsed and folded down. But when you had it on, it kind of looked like those new NFL helmets, bigger helmets that they wear for safety. But it was looked like a baseball cap, but it was a bike helmet, and they collected over $2 million on that and just walked away.
Yeah.
I don't. So
that's the risk. That's the risk, because you're not investing in it. You're not, it's not a pre-order. It's help us get this money for us to get this project going, and as an incentive, we'll give you these, but there's no guarantee that they'll produce. And sometimes Kickstarter, you can get the money back, but most times not. That's not the case.
$2 super chat from Steven. The art is okay. What about parts quality? That's another thing that a lot of people commented on my video from yesterday is, well, if this thing is going to be less than $1,000, how good is it? We can't tell you until we see it, right? Like, we're watching this product just like you guys. Here's what I can say is, for $1,000, and the Zizzle back then was like $300-400. If you do the inflation, if you guys remember the Zizzle home pinball machine, with inflation, that would have been about a $600 machine as of today, if that was released today with inflation. So if you think about it, for $600, you get Zizzle quality, which was pretty bad, right? Pretty bad. Some people like them. They're pretty bad. I still have one in the garage. I sold Pirates of the Caribbean. I still have Marvel down in the garage.
Why?
Well, now I was going to dump it because I'm cleaning out stuff, but now I'm going to keep it because it's going to make for a great comparison video if I do decide to buy one of these in the future. I'm waiting until we can see the Kickstarter. So I'm expecting for $1,000, I'm expecting the quality to be better than the Zizzle from many years ago, which was made of 90% plastic components back then.
Yeah.
Versus, real wire ramps and switches and things like that. This thing's supposedly going to have a game code actually built into it. Versus, the Zizzle, which was more like if you just shoot something, you get a score, but there was no actual game. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like when Nostalgia tries to pleasure his wife. There's no game or plan. He just kind of moves around until he's finished.
It's almost spot on.
Yeah,
you were so close.
Really quickly with this, I do want to jump in there because the way that it was explained to me, one of the things that makes US pinball so expensive, like the company's making it right now, all the parts are made in the US. So what they're trying to do is the same thing they did with Arcade1Up. A lot of these people is they're going to get the parts mass produced over in China. They're going to reverse engineer them and make them on a cheaper, their own versions of this stuff cheaper for the home market. So literally there's no way to tell what the quality is going to be. It will not be American pinball quality. We don't know until we see it in hand.
Yeah. So again, they're going over to Hong Kong within the next couple of weeks or whatever. And I'm hoping they show us a lot of pictures of what the whole artwork and revised pinball cabinet body shape looks like, as well as I'm hoping they show us a lot of gameplay footage. Right. And then I can come on and be like, it looks pretty cool, or it looks like a waste of time, right? You really never know how good something is until you actually get your hands on it. People were asking them, "Are you guys going to be at Texas Pinball Festival, which is coming up very soon?" And they said no, they don't think they'll be able to make it by then, but they're going to end up showing up at some pinball festival this year. It's going to happen. I think there's a pinball fest in Anaheim, California.
Pinball on
coming
the
up.
beach.
And I think they're targeting to be there. So if you are in the California area, oh, by the way, shout out to everyone in California. My God, the entire city of Los Angeles is on fire. We scream and cry because some YouTuber said something we didn't like. Guys, there's real problems in the world. Real problems. Think about it. And if you're crying about YouTuber did this or that, look at 10,000 people have lost their homes in California. So big shout out to California. We're pulling.
I think it's more important that YouTubers were in Vegas and they spent a day and a half in John D's suite instead of enjoying the town. I think that's more important.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So there you go. Okay. So that's what's going on with there. We spent a lot of time on that. Let's keep moving forward. You guys want to do Media OneUp, Glen, or MyArcade? I'll let you guys pick.
Let's do.
So we're gonna do the handhelds today.
The handhelds will be a bonus. We'll get to the handhelds as
we don't even have to.
Actually, you know what though? I told Restalgia to have the handheld ready because Restalgia just did a video on it, and I thought it looked pretty freaking cool. But we'll save that if we get done with this stuff early. All right.
See. We'll see.
I think Carl said he wanted to talk about the FU Cade.
Yeah,
real quick.
And Glenn shared this little graphic here, which I thought was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, you want to pull that up?
Yeah, I don't think can I pull it?
Oh nope, I got it right here. Is your home arcade GRS quality? No. FU. The all-new full-size GRS Build A Cade FU, which FU stands for you edition. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it stands for.
Okay, Glenn. Okay, we're.
And someone had in the comments earlier. It's like I wonder how the second version is going to be received. The FU2. So that was funny.
Yeah, so good job on this, Glenn. All right, guys, do me a favor. Even though Glenn's here in the live chat, I'm sure Glenn wants your honest feedback. What are your thoughts after his CES reveals? And I don't know how many of you caught. I did an interview with him during the middle of the week as well. What you guys thought about everything that Glenn talked about with his product. Mike, while I pull up something for the boys here, what's your reaction to this? Now that you got your 26-inch monitor, you bastard.
Yeah, I mean, I was very adamant that I thought the initial idea of having the 26-inch monitor is what made this so special. I understand that it's really cool to have that automatic rotating screen and people are happy with the 19-inch. But a lot of us were looking at that, Nova Blast, and we were like, man, I really want that screen, but I'm not a Candy Cab fan. I would love to have this in a multi-cade. So when Glenn said he was coming out with the 26-inch, I was like, this is a perfect fit, a rotatable 26-inch screen in a multi-cade. Like, this could be the one-all, end-all for arcades. It's a full-size unit. It's going to have commercial-grade parts. It's going to be reasonably, price-wise. And then it has adaptability like a Swiss Army knife. Like if I want to switch to a yoke control deck, I can. If I want to switch to a driving cab, I can. So it just seemed like amazing. So I know Glenn had some complications and price issues with why he had to drop the 26-inch screen, but I kept on him because I knew it was so important and so many people would love that. And I'm just so happy that, he was able to work something out with Unico. We're going to get an option now for the 26-inch monitor. And Glenn gave me a little bit of a heads up right before the show. He's been writing me ever since. The 26-inch monitor, like we talked about on your show, was going to be a fast set. So once you set up your cab, you were going to choose horizontal or vertical. You would have to take the machine apart to change it. Glenn did tell me today he got his team to agree to it. So the 26-inch will also be rotatable during gameplay. So it's probably going to be manual rotatable, not like with a powered unit, but you are going to be able to rotate it without taking the machine apart. So, I mean, this thing just keeps getting better and better. I'm so excited for it. Like I talked about on your show, really hoping that Glenn can get it to Canada shipped for, like $1,400 to $1,500 US. That would make me a very happy guy for the 26-inch.
Well, like Shiloh, they gave you the little tweezers for your Coca-Cola machine here. Glenn could just give you like a little suction cup thing you can put on the screen, and then rotate it, pull it out, rotate it, and then
That's
take
what
it.
At Games gave with their Legends Ultimate Minis. They
Did
gave
they?
you a little suction cups, well, to remove the bezel without scratching it. So I remember that. Real quick, I'm going to show this video again. This one right here isn't Glen's product. We showed this on our interview with Glen, but it is the exact same thing that Glen's machine will be doing, especially if you decide to go with his 19-inch monitor. I just think it's super cool, and some of you here tonight may not have caught the interview. When you pick on Glen's machine, when you pick you want to play like Pac-Man, like a vertical game, you'll notice the monitor will automatically switch for you with the 19-inch version that Glen is coming out with. It works the same way as this product. Rotating MAME monitors have been around for 10 years. It's nice to see that a company's actually willing to make this happen for all of us without us having to like mod it ourselves, that kind of thing. And then when he exits the game, it'll switch back into landscape mode and it'll rotate again. I think that this is super, super cool. I'm almost tempted to get the 19-inch monitor just so it rotates by itself. But then again, Mike, I might that 26-inch screen, now that he's doing the 26-inch screen option, that might be the one I go for because, I mean, it's 26 inches, right? I mean, you can't complain. But, I mean, guys in the chat,
Well,
I
no,
don't know
hold on,
if
hold
you
on.
missed this.
We got to
Go ahead.
be careful not to hurt people's feelings. Nostalgia grew up his whole life hearing that size doesn't matter, so we just want to be careful when we talk about that.
Yeah. I just love this right here. We'll play one more time just so people get an idea. Glen's motor and everything will work the same way.
There's
Freaking
nothing
awesome.
There's nothing wrong with the 19-inch either, because if you think about it, a lot of classic and especially vertical arcade games were on 19-inch screens. So there's going to be some people that 100% want that option. For me, I mean, I didn't start going to the arcades till 89. Like I remember like beat 'em ups and stuff like that, all on those big 26-inch monitors. Well, it was 25-inch monitors. So, you know, I want to recreate that. But that's the cool thing. There's options here. Options are never a bad thing, as my friend Detroit Love always says.
Detroit Love's a solid dude, man, isn't he? He's
Solid,
just
solid fucking dude.
all around solid dude. Let's pull this up right here. I got some stuff to share with you guys. So real quick, for those who missed the interview and the coverage this week, where you now have multiple options for the GRS FU Multicade that'll be hopefully launching in the next couple of months. And taking a peek here, here's your 19-inch rotating screen. And now Glen has heard everyone's feedback. They wanted a 26-inch screen, so you'll have a 26-inch screen. I think the difference between these two here is just showing the different control panels, because Glen separately later on, partnering with 99 Lives Arcade, will do modular control panels for his other controls. Like here's the flight yoke, here's the standard control panel that comes with it, here's a different control panel that's got his Atari sticks in it, etc. Sorry, I forgot to zoom in there. I pulled a Mike B. But Nostalgia, I want to get your thoughts on this. As a fellow lover of multicades and video game piracy, or buccaneering as we like to call it, what do you think, man? Does this look like a cool multicade to have sitting behind you there?
Yeah, I think what Glen's done here is really good. There's nothing quite like this in the marketplace, and I have a tendency to agree with Mike on this one. The 26-inch screen, I think, is the way to go. For those who want an automatically rotating 19-inch display, you can do that. But if I were buying one tomorrow, it would be the 26-inch display, just because you use up all that damn real estate. Don't give me any bezel. Just give me screen, baby.
It's just screen.
And
All
just
you
give
want
me
is screen. Okay.
And I mean, Glen's parts are some of the best that you can get. His trackball,
I agree with you, but I'm just going to stop you really quickly before you do that. I've seen Glen's parts. They're spectacular.
He's got the best in the business. All of his components, they're very high quality. They're built really well. So you're going to get something that will run really well. It'll feel really good to play. And just, I think it's great to see him kind of getting into the really big stuff. And I hope that it's exactly as successful as he wants it to be.
Yeah, and with Glen stuff, because again, I had to Build A Cade for over a year, and and I finally put it together a couple of weeks back, and I was just really impressed with the level of detail nothing missing from the thing. He
Mhm.
literally thought out every aspect of it. So if he can replicate that at a larger size, this thing is going to be pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I know Paul. Paul's looking at this, and a lot of people that are big Arcade1Up fans are looking at this, and it doesn't scratch their itch, right? Because this is awesome for multi-cades, but at the same time, it doesn't bring that nostalgia. Of course, that comes with the modding aspect. People can turn this into a Nintendo cab. People can put whatever side art they want on it. But you know what? It's a very cool friggin' option for somebody who wants a commercial grade multi-cade in their home.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
multi-cades aren't nothing and aren't anything new. Rec Room Masters and a bunch of different companies have been making these multi-cades for decades, and they're pretty expensive. They're pretty expensive.
This one's
missing something.
This one's a little bit more unique than that. Like a lot of
Right,
those
that's what I'm
companies,
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
what
those
I'm saying.
companies go with the 16:9 monitor, and that's fine. But this is so arcade authentic in terms of proportions, size, even fucking weight somehow. Even without a CRT, the weight is still there. So
Right, that's what I'm saying. Those companies have been selling,
Yep.
cabinets
Yeah.
for years, and they're not the best thing, but they were the only options that were available if you wanted to get some type of arcade, short of buying a real one and refurbishing it, and etc. So this is definitely a great. There's definitely a market. There's always been a market for multi-Ks, and there will continue to be. So I think this is going to be great for that market.
So just keep in mind too, if anything on these photos looks a little weird shaped, keep in mind Glenn said that on the next prototype, they're going to be shrinking this back further to give people better viewing angles, shrinking the marquee back further, fixing some base. It's going to go through some resizing on the final version before the Kickstarter launches, which I'm sure we'll see. This kind of gives you an idea is where he's going for the Nintendo shaped cab. And I got to tell you guys, as you guys know, I love my multi-cades. It'd be nice to have a Nintendo shaped multi-cade in my house. But I think what I like about Glenn is he's partnering with 99 Lives Arcade. He's partnering with DIY Retro Arcade, Sabo Arcades, Arcade Graphics, Escape Pod Online. This really feels like it's a community project, right? And I know, like, for instance, Paul's in the chat saying, but commercial grade multi-cades like this have been available from Rec Room Masters and
not like this.
The other GRS and all that stuff. And that's true. Like commercial, there's companies out there who make and sell commercial grade multi-cades, but this one has got all of Glenn's parts in it. We know his controls are fantastic. His buttons, his sticks, his flight yokes, all this stuff that Glenn, his light guns, his shotgun. Like it kind of feels like this is part of our community. Does that make sense? Versus, one of the dozens of third-party websites. The marquee is going to be resized. It's not going to overhang as much. I will say this. If I do end up getting this and I get the attachment to make it look more like a Nintendo-shaped arcade, I'm telling you right now, guys, what artwork do you think I'm going to throw on there?
I think you're going to... I know Charlie Chuck's putting Popeye. Are you doing Popeye too?
Absolutely Popeye. Because honestly, guys, I don't give a shit about Donkey Kong. I know everyone loves Donkey Kong, but I love Popeye. Remember back when we used to do Game of the Week when Detroit Love and I played Popeye and we did our own little high score challenge and stuff. I love Popeye. I think Popeye is a great arcade game. I'll make a Popeye cap. Hell yeah, Popeye in the chat.
I'm going to do Donkey Kong 3 because I want to see that pervert Stanley spraying Donkey Kong up the ass with the thing.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to have a Nintendo-shaped cabinet, it's got to be Popeye. Nothing else makes sense for me personally. Okay. So there you go. If you guys are also interested in hearing more about this particular project, make sure you guys check out Galga Guy 88's interview with Glenn. We're going to automatically redirect people there after our show is over, but they may have already started by the time we get there because we're running a little slow here tonight.
Oh, also Gallagher Guy's good people too. Like if you haven't subscribed already, go subscribe to him. Nice guy.
Yeah. Okay, so we got MyArcade and Media OneUp. Where do you guys want to go next? Nostalgia, you pick.
Let's go with the company who is putting out some of the highest quality home arcade products, MyArcade.
All right, so MyArcade CES. Michael B., what do you know about it?
I don't know. I don't cover MyArcade. I'm not a
Yeah, you did. You made an entire video about it.
MyArcade did so much stuff for CES. The big announcements, so much stuff came out ahead of time, and we thought we were done with everything, but they still managed to bring more shit out to the floor that we didn't even hear about. The big thing coming out of MyArcade, I think that we really should focus on with the remaining time we have left. They're coming out with a mini pinball machine, the Balls of Steel. And this one is fascinating. After hearing from, people like Shiloh, you got the other guy making those arcade recreation pinballs that are like $700. MyArcade is going to come out with some shit that costs like $50, has 4 AA batteries in it. It's going to work just as well. I don't understand.
It won't look as well, but
No.
Yeah, so MyArcade. So as you guys can imagine, when it comes to video game pinball, some people I think only it's Zakaria, Zen Studios, and Farside Studios, and that's it. Guys, there's way more pinball studios out there than just those three. It's just those three are probably the most successful, largest, most popular. Balls of Steel, this particular pinball studio, they make virtual pinball games, and unfortunately, I mean, guys, I have to be honest with my audience. I've played them. They sent me the games for review. I did a review on them. Do you guys remember last year I reviewed all the Balls of Steel games? They're just okay. They're not even, I wouldn't say they're good. They're just okay. But if this thing's better be like $50 or less, but if this is like some $100 mini pin, guys, I'll be telling you guys not to buy it because the games are just not good.
This will not be $50.
You don't think so?
Not a chance. I think this is going to sell for $100.
Okay, well, wait until it goes on sale for
$89.
Wait until it goes on sale on clearance. These games are not that great, in my opinion. I hate to sound like a hater. I think it's cool that they're doing a virtual pinball machine, and obviously they went with this company because when it comes to virtual pinball, a lot of
everything else is locked up.
A lot of the other stuff is locked up, right? But like, here's their centipede table. Which this is from when I did my review.
That does not look good.
and take a look at this guy. Here's Missile Command.
Wow, that looks even better.
And
look how smooth that ball rolls.
It's just not great. Like they're kind of like the worst versions of Magic Pixel games. You know how like Magic Pixel has some home runs, like the Rapids game and some of the Dr. Seuss, some of the Taito games, some of the deluxe games. Like
Sea of Thieves is incredible.
Oh, fuck you. But it's kind of like their best games look like the worst Zakaria games. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? And like I did a review and the company was really hurt by my review and they were really mad at me and they sent me an email and I said, look, I'll try it again. I'll play the games again because they had new games come out and the new games were actually a little bit more fun to play. Some of the games are older, such as like this is one you may have remembered from your youth, where you guys remember playing these pinball games back in the day, like on Windows or whatever, and the screen would go up and down and up and down. And I sat there for like 2 hours playing the games, and eventually I found like 1 or 2 out of the eight or so games that I actually kind of liked. But for the most part, I wasn't super hyped. So keep in mind, guys, if you are going to spend $200 on their games,
they can't sell this for $200. There's no way.
Somebody in the chat said that the press release said $150.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys are delusional if you think it was $50. I'm sorry.
I'm just telling you from my own experience. This mini arcade machine, because of the games included, I'm not going to spend more than $50 on it. I'll wait until someone has it on clearance or something of that nature.
So even at $150, I know the games aren't very good, but like if you hear from Glen and like you talk to Shiloh and he's like, oh well, for us to do digital, black hole, like the machine would be like $600 or something like that. I mean, the fact that they got this running, even if the games aren't the best, and from what I understand too, there's like zero flipper lag. The game plays really well, considering what it is. I mean, it's baby's first pinball, baby's first attempt at virtual pinball, I'll call it. But it's still an impressive feat, and this might not be the one, but hopefully it's something they keep up, and maybe down the line they can get more impressive titles, and this may become something we're interested in.
Yeah, but keep in mind, guys, I think there was like either 8 or 10 games, and I think I found maybe 3 games that I liked, which isn't a good ratio because, like, for instance, guys, and I'm not like shilling for Zen Studios here. How many times have you guys heard me say, I don't like that Zen Studios game? I don't like that Zen Studios game.
I've never heard you say that.
Zen Studios
never
has
heard you say
released,
that.
what, 150 pinball games, and there's probably 100 I like and 50 I don't, right? So it's not, but that's a better ratio versus like 2 or 3 out of like 8 or 10 games. I can't remember the exact number. So I'm just telling you guys how I feel. I am not super hyped for this. But you guys, let me know what you think, Nostalgia.
I think they're using a very low-powered Android tablet, and I think that's how the games are running. And it's not a highly complex thing, and I don't think it's going to be a ton of fun or like a super great value. But if you're looking to spend $150 on something, like maybe this could be all right. It's just it's exactly what I would expect from MyArcade, to be honest. Like, I don't know how else to say
you
it.
also got to remember who their customers are. Their customers aren't necessarily the same audience that watches this. Their customers are
100%.
the impulse buy. Like, usually when these are in stores, they're by the front or, the front of the electronics section, and someone's going to walk by this and
It's on
see
an
it and
end
be
cap,
like,
yeah.
oh, Uncle Freddie loved pinball growing up. Can you imagine getting this for Uncle Freddie? They keep them lowered price because they're supposed to be impulse buys. Like, most
I
people in
know.
our community are not there.
Mike, but $150 is
I
not
know.
lowered price. That's the issue.
I agree
like,
with you.
They've got their other stuff. You get them for like what, $30-$40 for those little tiny arcades, maybe $50.
$50, yeah, usually in
$50,
Canada.
yeah. So like, to go from a $50 item, that's a grab away item. That's something you have on an end cap. Somebody's like, oh, hey, Pac-Man, Dad likes Pac-Man. Let's just grab that for him. Versus $150, that's actually something you stop and think about, right? Like, you're not just grabbing it because, oh, hey, Dad likes this. No, it's actually like it's an informed decision you're making. Nobody just like throws $150 items in their cart without thinking. So I think this is an interesting choice. I hope they're successful, but quite frankly, this is exactly what I was expecting from MyArcade. It's a low grade version of what people want.
Yeah, I mean, I have a different take on this. I mean, like last year, my daughters got me the Atari game station for Christmas, and I hacked it and put all these games on it. I've never touched it again. And it's sitting over there, display piece. Now, if they bought this same thing for me, I think I would play this a lot more than at any, no matter how good or bad the games is. Even if there was one I liked on it, I would see myself pulling this out more than that game station and hooking it up and playing something. So from that standpoint, if they bought me this, they say, "Oh, I think my dad likes pinball. This is great," and paid $150, I definitely would appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Carl. Carl is always our conscience on our shoulder, isn't he, fellas? So
He is.
What do you think nostalgia is then?
I'm just like,
He's the wart on the ass.
he's the
that's
wart on the
exactly
ass.
what I is, yeah.
He's the
That's right.
thorn. He's the thorn on our side, right? But despite the fact that me personally, I'm a bit disappointed in this mini desktop pinball machine, and I know that's probably one of the things they really wanted to hype. They did show some other stuff that was kind of freaking cool, man.
They're in the
ask you a question,
countercade
though.
game now.
Hold on, let me
Huh?
ask you. Let me ask you guys a question. If this is going to sell for $150, that's about the same price as a New Wave Toys
No, it's not.
arcade
Look,
machine.
Look,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right, I'm
150 US.
I'm gonna say something controversial. All right. I've been trying to be nice about it, Nostalgia, but now that you're getting under my skin, now I have to be mean about it, and all the MyArcade shills are gonna get mad. Even Mike had to abandon the stream. His kids are probably running around the office right now. Look, I would rather pay.
He should mute his mic. Yeah,
I'm gonna. Yeah, please mute Mike. I would rather pay New Wave Toys $200 for this black hole mini pinball machine that all I can do is stare at it and not play it than spend $150 with MyArcade and play these shitty pinball games on this shitty device. Is that fair? Is that fair? All right, we can zoom
Well,
back.
there goes our MyArcade sponsorship. dickhead.
There's your hot take. No,
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
You
Look,
like 3 games. You like
they
3
show-
games.
yeah, but
I mean,
all right.
with
Don't get me
pinball, you
going.
need is one. You bought a whole.
I would rather spend $200 on a black hole pinball machine that I can't play than this crap because
Yeah.
the games are so bad.
So
Okay?
it's
Okay.
a fair statement. Like, you could have one of the best consoles in the world. Like, the Xbox Series X is awesome, but if you don't have the games Nintendo and Sony has, no one's going to buy it. So the quality of the games do matter quite a bit. And if the games are really that terrible, like, I wasn't familiar with Balls of Steel. I looked at it first and I was like, are they doing original
That's what he
Atari
said.
games? So yeah, that if the games are just no good, it doesn't matter how good the product is or how cool the product is. It's got shit games.
I mean, I didn't. I mean, the games, the video that we just saw, I didn't see those as terrible. Again, I hadn't played them. I would love to see it and love to play it, but the balls didn't seem floaty. The physics seem to be pretty decent. I'm interested in, and again, it may evolve from what it looks on. The game's
Yeah.
probably not going to change, but the cabinet could be different. I mean, I think aesthetically, I would like to see it look closer to a pinball. Some minor adjustments with a button placement. I understand where they put them at just for comfort level, but I would rather it be, more aesthetic than.
I will say,
You're not going to play it that much.
I will say my hope is, like, obviously these games don't interest me. I hope that eventually they make some of these cabinets with different games
Yeah.
and cheaper.
They have to start somewhere. And again, but Arcade1Up started with some pinballs and never made any more. You would hope that they had gotten better with it and produced something better, but that never happened. So
Well, what?
that may not ever happen here with
Yeah.
Arcade. Well,
So Arcade1Up, we're never going to be able to make any more pinball because their company mindset is so fucking stupid. Their pinball came out and it needed 15 improvements. And then when they talked about the next iteration of their pinball, they said, yeah, we got to figure out how to make it cheaper. So we're going to take away the DMD. We're going to take away this. And I was just like, well, you're done fucked. Don't ever make pinball again because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move on because they had a lot of products and we still want to talk about Media 1UP as well tonight. So, for instance, now I'm not a complete MyArcade hater. I don't like 90% of what they do. I will show you guys right now. Let's flip to the positive. Something that they showed off at CES, but that personally I think is pretty cool.
Please don't chill.
And personally, I think I might buy this one. You guys ready? Boom, baby. I freaking love this thing. This is their game station on the go. Now, I had a bad experience when I unboxed and reviewed their Game Station Pro. And maybe it's because I'm left-handed and playing Atari controllers and trying to do things vice versa, flip-flopped. I can't even get to the A button when you're playing with your left hand on a Atari joystick, right? But this, in my opinion, looked really, really cool. And I sense a lot of modding in the future, hacking, stuff like that. Nostalgia, I need your thoughts on this, buddy, because personally, I thought this looked pretty cool.
You really want my thoughts on it?
Yeah, I want your honest thoughts. If it's shit, tell me it's shit so I don't spend my money on it and the audience blames you and not me. But
Listen,
me personally, I think this looks freaking cool. Go ahead,
So
bud.
here's the thing. I don't want to call it shit because I need to get my hands on it and actually use it. I don't really like bashing a product unless I've tried it. That being said, do you know what this looks like to me?
What's that, buddy?
This looks like the product 10 years from now that you walk into a thrift store and see on the shelf for $2.99. That's what this looks like to me.
Let's stop for a second. Dubs, it has Balls of Steel for you. Balls of Steel is on this machine.
Done. You don't need the pinball
Right,
machine
so
anymore.
it's got a couple games on it I'll never play. Let's keep going.
This I'm sure has an appeal to a lot of people because it's got like the control set up so you can play a lot of the games, but it's, I don't know, man. I don't know how to comment on this one. Atari is not my generation. Like, I didn't play any Atari games growing up, and a lot of these consoles that are on here way before my time. Like, by the time I was actually gaming, Atari was like so gone that nobody was playing it.
Yeah.
So for me, this has zero nostalgic value. It
Okay.
looks kind of cheap. The
Yes.
games on it don't seem very exciting. So from my perspective, it's a no-go. I wouldn't be
Yeah,
interested
but,
in it. But
what if you could load a crap ton of other stuff on it there, Nostalgia?
Nostalgia, think about it. You can make so many videos. How to hack the Atari Game Station Pro in 2026.
but why? Why? How much is this thing going to cost?
I don't know.
I have no
Do you-
idea.
I don't
It's
know.
probably 100,
Give a
100 bucks.
ballpark. 150 bucks, whatever it is. This is 70 bucks. And I can play all of the games that I want on here without having to hack it at all.
Well, you can't play
Yeah,
all.
Yeah,
of
but
it,
but you
they
don't have a
keep running.
trackball, you don't have a spinner, you don't have a keypad, and like Brooklyn
Ooh,
Menace said,
place the
your
recharge
buttons
games.
your buttons don't light up depending on the game you're playing, so you know what buttons you're supposed to be using.
That's
So guess what,
true.
Nostalgia? Your handheld sucks. This thing is
Hold on.
awesome.
You asked me. My position is there's not a single game that I would play on a handheld that requires a trackball or a little spinny
Oh.
knob or a number pad. It's just not. I wouldn't play those games. So that's
So-
why I'm kind of like, this doesn't make sense for me. I wouldn't buy this to mod because there's way better options to play the types of games that I would play on a modded
Oh
console.
god, here's that
Oh,
shitty
goodness.
pinball.
Balls of
Let's
steel.
get- let's-
So really
let's get-
quickly,
Can we
quickly,
get out of
I
those
do wanna-
shitty
I want
pinball
to
games?
I want to talk about Bobby Broadway's comment here. Nostalgia, I'm going to need you on this because you're more knowledgeable than I am. So there is one benefit, the only benefit I really see to this, because like if I want to play Atari and I want nostalgia, I'm going to buy the 7800 plus or the 2600 plus. That's just fucking facts. But one cool thing about this is when you emulate certain systems, you don't get the same controls. This actually does have accurate controls for the Atari Jaguar. The only thing I'm concerned about, though, that's a hard system to emulate. Usually, the only time I've seen that emulated really well is when you have a hard drive connected to your PC and you get a beefy PC. So I don't know if what they've got running this can actually emulate Jaguar games, and if they're going to invest the money into coming up with a proprietary emulator for Jaguar.
Well, I didn't notice. Did they actually make the claim that there's going to be Jaguar games running on this?
No. People are saying in the comments it's got the
So-
Jaguar controls and you could play Jaguar on it. But I don't know. Like MyArcade are not going to invest the research and development into this to develop a Jaguar proprietary emulator.
They may,
And I
they
don't
may
know
not.
if they'll run on their stuff.
I don't really know much about Jaguar emulation at all. Like I said, Atari is just like not my jam, so I don't really give it the time of day. That being said, there's a ton of emulators that can be used commercially. So maybe they're using some sort of a retro player system that allows you to use an emulation core that is commercially viable for Jaguar. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. You think that I think that they're going to spend time developing an emulator for their console for Jaguar specifically? No. I don't imagine that they've got the technical know-how, and I don't think that they would outsource it because it would cost too much money to do that. But who knows? I mean,
Yeah, I just don't think it'll have the jam. So for people saying this control's perfect and you can side load on it, I don't think Jaguar is going to work on it.
yeah, if you're gonna have to try to sideload it and just use like a RetroArch core, I don't think you're gonna get great performance. It's the same thing that people run into with like Sega Saturn, right?
With so much hardware over the last decade that has been released for you to play retro gaming on, one of the dumbest statements I hear from people all the time is, but you don't need to buy this because we can already play the games with this, right?
Yeah, it's
I
my
hear-
least favorite too. Yeah,
I hear that all the time. It is the most low hanging fruit.
just get a Raspberry Pi. You don't need
It's
a
the-
Nintendo
yeah, it's-
Classic.
And the reason why is it's not about, okay, there's only going to be one way to play these games. Like who are you to decide universally that the only way, let's just say, to play Burger Time? Well, you could play Burger Time on an At Games Legends Ultimate Mini. And if any of you play Burger Time anywhere else, you're a bunch of idiots. You know what I mean? What these companies try to do is they try to find a way. It's the same games on all these retro gaming devices, pirated or not. The question is do you want to play these games on that form factor, right? So when I look at this, I'm not a big Atari. I love Atari arcade games. I don't like Atari console games. It's about the form factor. If I want a curated collection of Atari games, and I just want to sit on my couch, not stand in front of my arcade, not have a giant stare at my 80-inch TV. Like if I just want to sit back, relax, and play some arcade games, I can see myself playing these games on this form factor. Does that make sense? It's not about the fact that I have these games on my Pi or 20 Ambernic devices I have under my desk. You know what I mean? It's the fact that, do you want to play these games this way? That's what all these companies have been selling for years. Arcade1Up, Act Games, New Wave Toys, Numbskull. It's all the same games. Do you want to play them on that form factor? So taking a peek here, I like this. All right. And I need you to stop hating on it, Nostalgia.
I'm not hating on it because I don't want you to buy it.
I like the colors. I like the light up buttons. I like
the colors
the
are the worst part, Mike.
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Just giving you a hard time.
All right. There you go. All right.
Like I said, for me, there's no nostalgia attached. But
can you show the countercades now, for God's sakes?
Yeah, let's get to the countercades because those are actually kind of cool, right? Since we're poaching off of Gen X Grown Up, did he do any of the videos or shoot? Does anyone have a good video of the countercades?
Well, no, I don't. I haven't.
I think James.
Mark Petrick sent some videos to us. I've got a couple of videos from CES MyArcade booth if you want me to show them.
Yeah, provided we're not sharing them from like a Facebook Messenger. Yeah, we can.
No, they're already uploaded to our videos.
Really?
Exclusive stuff from the MyArcade booth. We're not going to show those.
No.
Patrick, I don't know how he can like give you so many layups and you just miss every single one.
Yeah, but guys, I don't think we should play that video.
We're not going to play the video.
I don't think we should play that video.
No, we weren't. That was we were joking.
Like, look, there's you can make fun of people, but then there's also a line. You know what I mean? And
that's what I was saying, Mike. There's a line. You're always wanting to tiptoe on it.
You know?
Sorry, guys, we can't show you. And if you want to see it, you can subscribe to my OnlyFans. I'll be showing it there. Only $59.99.
Look, it's just we have audio of what happened.
No. Yes, we do have audio.
No. Well, we've got okay, guys. Enough. We're moving on.
That's enough. Keep going.
We're moving on.
All right, we can't do it. We
get our mind out of the gutter. Come on.
Can't do it. I want to do it, but I can't.
No,
right,
we're not doing it.
Let's move on here. I'm getting off of it.
You're getting off on it? It's like nostalgia. We can't work with this guy anymore.
Off of it. Let's focus on the other positive things that happened in the
show the countercades.
You got Mark's videos?
No. Who's Mark?
You're so dumb. MyArcade. I think it was James, right? Did James have a good video showing it off? Mike, just tell people what you thought of them while I'm trying to find the visual.
So I was really excited about these going into it. So there was a couple that I really liked the concept of. There was the Pac-Man Mighty Player, and then we had the Mega Players. So one was the Bandai Namco Capcom collaboration. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, this could be interesting. And then they're also releasing an Atari style countercade as well. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, God.
He didn't do a video showing it. Who did? Someone did a full MyArcade CES booth tour.
Gen X.
I can't find it. He's got like he made 9,000 MyArcade videos this last week.
He actually made a video about being burnt out. I can understand why. They revealed like 47,000 products.
Yeah, there you go.
Nostalgia, tell people why you're not allowed in Tennessee while I get this information up.
I'm actually not even allowed into the United States at all anymore.
I'm gonna.
I won't say why. I'll leave that to your imagination. But I will say that I got in a lot of trouble for what
he probably had to take care of something with the fam. It's okay. He'll be back. You know, the P-dubs from 2 years ago would have played the video. That's true. All right,
now, guys, it's inappropriate. So,
God, no! I can't see anything.
You can't see that. The fuck is wrong with you? Your new glasses suck.
Get to the countercade, Mike.
They're making this is part of it. This is the countercade.
All right, here we go. Thank God. All right, let's go. Sorry, Mike. I didn't. I thought you were showing the other mini handheld thing. Go ahead.
No. So this is the Atari Countercade. So a lot of the same features that you saw in the Atari Game Station Go just showed there. So we've got our keypad, arcade controller, little tiny trackball right there. We've got a huge spinner, and then you got a load of buttons with the same art style that's going on here. One thing I really like about these, which I normally wouldn't like, and Nostalgia, I think you're going to like this too. I love the fact they're going black with these. Like it's almost like they're all black.
I'm really all for that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And usually I'd be like, oh, it doesn't have colors and stuff, but I like it.
I do like if they're actually going with like a super black themed console.
Yeah,
it'll look sharp. Like that's a pretty slick way to go. And with the colored buttons and the joystick, it gives you a little bit of an accent, and then it'll look nice. But what's it made out of, Mike? Is it made out of plastic? Is it made out of wood?
Good sturdy plastic, Glen Planamento says.
Really
No,
sturdy.
I don't know what the quality is, but right now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it's got to be wood. Someone's telling me the price on this is around $300.
I don't think that's wood, bro.
What is this? What is this?
I
Why are you
don't
calling
know.
it, Greg? Why are you calling us sissies, bro?
I don't know. Who cares, man? Fuck
Why you
off.
call- why-
I like Gregory. Who cares
I
what
don't-
anybody says in the chat? Let them say whatever they want.
Yeah, or maybe he's talking about the MyArcade products are from the sissy crew. I don't know. You talking about me?
I hope so. This looks like it could be a really good product. This is the thing. These photos, these
I know,
renders,
right?
they look like they're super high quality. Look at the like shadowing.
I know.
It
This is
looks like it'd be great. The problem
This-
is when we see the real thing, it's not
Yeah.
going to look like this.
Well, this is the Capcom Bandai Namco game station, and I don't love the side art on this. They didn't go black with that, so I'm imagining the Atari will be different too. But everything in the front is completely black.
It's plastic, dude. Go back to the control panel.
There's the control panel right there.
I got this has got to be plastic, dude.
I'm
it
just gonna
looks
say
classic to me.
That's
they
plastic.
showed a lot of stuff, and like their little Sonic arcade games that are probably gonna run like you're gonna play Sonic 2 on these little mini arcade games and stuff. Like none of that stuff really appealed to me. I will say this because we are running long tonight. I will say this. When it comes to MyArcade, I really liked that handheld game station. And when it comes to these countercades, I do want to see more because you guys know us. We like our countercades, right? In our home arcades. So, but minus that, I wasn't super thrilled about all that. So there you go. Oh, maybe he's way behind because he just made a comment saying Crackhead Alice is hot. Maybe Gregory's way behind. Gregory,
that's what it
fast
was.
forward. Someone hop in the DeLorean. Tell Gregory to fast forward. He's way behind.
In an hour, he's gonna get to the part where you're chirping at him, and he's gonna be like, "What did I do?"
Someone text
us.
Gregory to fast forward. But yeah, I like countercades. I like modding them. I like playing on them, and eventually getting bored of them and all that stuff. So
Hit me, Nostalgia.
This
Real
now,
money.
This looks like a
There you go.
product that I can get behind, especially since they're going to be doing real gambling.
So there's some questions still. Like I was having a conversation with somebody today about the Outrun. So the Outrun is probably the product I'm most excited about they're making. Here's a better look at the Pac-Man Mighty Player. So this is kind of like a baby Cade countercade that they're making. I do really like the side art on it.
I'll admit the side art.
That white basil just
Yeah.
does do it for me.
It's baby Cade. The white bezel's totally baby Cade.
Yeah, that's a
Never
hard
mind,
no.
dude. Mike, this is shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one's horrible. The black
mean,
one,
he's that
the black
stream,
one was
man.
fine. You know,
Look,
once you
and
go
I-
black, you never go back. So I can dig that one, but that one there is horrible.
Oh, there he is. Thanks, guys. Gregory, we didn't know what's going on. Greg, you were way behind. Greg, are you live?
Why are we
Greg,
sissies?
are you with us right now?
Yeah.
Please confirm you're live and that you fast forward. Look, is 2025 the year that P-Dubs is going to become a MyArcade shill like, all these other guys out there
19K
shilling them?
Fox.
19K Fox, the Rexer show, all these MyArcade shills. Is P-Dubs going to do it? No. But I will say they have a couple of products that I find interesting, especially that one handheld and the counter cades. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on those just to look at them.
They're
But
$300 though.
You
Hey?
got to see that pinball. Pinball is going to be awesome.
Would you pay $300 for that countercade?
I would
Not a
pay
chance.
$300 to not play that pinball machine ever.
Yeah.
Shitty
So the other one I did want to talk about really quickly, Outrun is probably the product I'm most interested in. The only MyArcade product that I personally own. I got my daughter the Miss Pac-Man, but I have the pole position. The pole position's really good for like what you pay for it. It
Oh,
plays
yeah.
really well.
It's a
So
no-brainer.
I'm excited to see what they do with Outrun, but there's some questions with all the Genesis games if they're all going to be console-based games. So someone brought it up to me today that on the Outrun, they're doing Outrun and Outrunners will be on it as well. But this is where
Did you
this
say
one
plastic wood? Did you say plastic wood?
I never said plastic wood.
Oh, I thought someone said it and I missed it.
So,
Go ahead.
anyways, one of the things that was brought up is the two games that are going to be on it are Outrun and Outrunners. So I find that weird that if you have an opportunity to do something like that in the arcade ROMs, why wouldn't you do Outrun, Turbo Outrun, and Outrunners, or Outrun and Turbo Outrun? But then it made sense to me because if you go back to the Genesis library, they did Outrun and they did Outrunners. There was never a Genesis Turbo Outrun. It's a possibility. These are still console ROMs.
MyArcade would never do that. What are you
They
talking
always
about?
do that.
No. This is a company that only puts out the highest quality products, period. What are you talking about? Mike, you are full of baloney. That is
So-
not possible.
Gen X is saying Outrun is arcade. Outrunners might not be because I think that's the Sega System 32 to run Outrunners. So, I mean, I don't know how powerful MyArcade's chipsets are. So, you know,
They're so powerful. They put out the best products.
All right, time to move on to Media One Up.
Yeah, I think we Mike, we're just not going to become MyArcade shills in 2025. I'm sorry, guys.
Not unless they
just-
send me stuff. If they send me stuff, bro, will I shill the snot out of it?
you should see all that 19K Fox has been doing.
All right.
All you got to do is just send me some free products, and
All right.
man, will I shill it.
So I just put a poll in the live chat, guys. Do me a favor while we're having this discussion, start answering the poll. Are you interested, which means you want to learn more and you're a potential buyer? Are you not interested, or are you have you already placed your pre-order even though we didn't get to see the front end and all the gameplay and it actually running on a Pi 5 versus a Pi 4? But when it comes to the Media One Up, iArcade collaboration, and John D being back in the community, are you in or not? Do me a favor, vote in the poll, and let's talk about it. Now, Nostalgia, you're telling me, with all the news coverage this week, that you don't know nothing about this?
I know very little.
Okay. Mike, why don't you explain it to him while I nurse this headache?
So 19K Fox, B Kong, and Console Kits went to Vegas and spent 2.5 days in John D's suite.
That sounds like fun. What did they do?
Well, all kidding aside, so John kind of pulled a pretty big surprise. I will give credit to the Rexer show. I don't know how he got this information, but they are working with Iconic Arcade. And like when I heard about his video, I didn't watch it, that Iconic Arcade was involved. I laughed my ass off. I was like, that's the stupidest thing. Like, is he just trying to, you know, try to make fun of me because I just bought a $50 MyArcade game stick? Like he's trying to, you know, come up with some conspiracy that this is MyArcade now. And like I told people, John D wrote me and he's like, do you want an official statement? And I was like, I don't need a fucking official statement on whether or not you're working with Iconic Arcade. I know it's stupid. It's not happening. So I was kind of, you know, I found out probably like 2 nights before the reveal, the way 19K Fox put it, because like all 3 guys that went there, they've been, you know, on John's inner circle with this the whole time. Like he told me ahead of time, he said, yeah, they're working with Iconic Arcade. I didn't know the title until, you know, that picture Fox put out with the black on it. He put that in our group chat. So we didn't know exactly what it was, but we saw the bottom outline for Alpha and we could make it out. So I thought it was Alpha. I had no idea about the Street Fighter 2 version. And yeah, they announced it. And what I will say is I see a lot of people complaining about these and saying they're just one-ups. I don't know what you're excited for. You're 100% right. If you don't like Arcade1Up, like in terms of the wood quality, controls, you know, screens, sound, any of that stuff, you're not going to like these either because they're made in the exact same fucking factory. So there's nothing new for you there. If you don't like one-ups, this isn't for you either. But what it is it is for the people that do like one-ups, much like myself, especially the people who want XL arcades, because that's essentially what this is. It's a continuation of the Arcade1Up XL line that's been locked behind a Costco window, exclusive to Costco for some reason for the last couple of years, and we're going to get games we never got before. Another criticism.
Is this actually, hold on, is this actually like the same size as an Arcade1Up XL? I've never actually seen one in person.
Some people said it was the same size as a couple of the, I think maybe the Golden TXL or one of them. But yeah, it's the same size. And I have my Pac-Man XL, and I like it. I like the fact that it's a bit bigger than the other ones. Now, when it came to the Arcade1Up Golden TXL, everyone knows I had a horrible experience with that one. And, that was like $600 wasted, right? So the question is, though, will this, John D. Mike, I didn't know they're being built in the same factory, same parts.
Exact same factory, exact same parts, exact same wood. This is essentially an Arcade1Up. It's just John's take on it. Now,
hold on, wait. Do you know that they are using, like, in fact, the same wood? I get the same factory, but like, do you have a confirmation that they are in fact using all the same quality, everything else?
Yes, that's what I was told. Yeah.
Okay.
From John's inner circle, B, Console Kits, and Fox.
Now, they were one thing that came out was earlier in the week when it was official, as well as when it went live on their website, and I caught it. And then also John D had confirmed before the announcements that yes, this thing is going to be powered by a Raspberry Pi 5. I just assumed this would have a 4 or an 8 gigabyte Raspberry Pi 5 in it. It wasn't until the stream last night, John D confirmed, Biggie D's got it right here, it's actually going to have the 2 gigabyte RAM Pi 5. Now, nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
When he was asked about it on that live stream, he said, well, considering what I need the machine to do, all the developers working with him say the 2 gigabyte version is all he needs.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think he still should have gone a little bit more powerful, like with the 4 or the 8 or something to, because think about it. A lot of people, here's what I think is going to happen. A lot of people are like, okay, it's a Raspberry Pi 5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy John D's machine, take out his micro SD card. I'm going to put in my own with this build I just downloaded, right? And what if it's got a whole bunch of games on it that the 2 gigabyte can't run? Does that make sense? Like, that's what I'm wondering. What are your thoughts on that? I need your expert emulation opinion.
You asked a few questions there, so let me try to take them one at a time.
Take them one at a time.
The first question is, do I think that he should have gone with a 4 or an 8 gig Pi for what he's doing? Absolutely not. If he can get it to run on a 2 gig Pi, that's what he should do because it's cheaper. He has to manufacture these things, and he needs to keep his costs as low as possible. Next question. You're saying because it's a Pi 5, people are going to want to do things to the software. If they don't like the OS, they're going to create their own flash card, throw their SD card in there. They're going to run their own system, and maybe they're going to run into a game that is going to struggle with 2 gigs of RAM.
Right.
I also don't know that is going to be your bottleneck because I don't think people are going to be playing the types of games on here that do require a substantial increase in RAM. So I think 2 gigs of RAM is more than sufficient to play PSP games on here. You're going to be able to play N64 games on here. You're going to be able to play Dreamcast games on here and PS1 titles on here with no issue with 2 gigs of RAM. That's plenty.
You're going to see how to hack the iconic Arcade Street Fighter videos from Nostalgia till the cows come home.
Right. Well, my point is simply that with what you can run on 2 gigs is great. If you want to start getting into GameCube emulation and some of the other more advanced emulators, you're going to need a little bit more RAM. If you're going to want to run an operating system on here and actually sideload Linux and play around as an actual computer, you're going to want more RAM. But the reality is for what the form factor is, with what the controls that are built into it, and the games that you're going to want to play on this thing, I think a Pi 5, honestly, I think a Pi 5 is overkill, quite frankly. I think you could have gone with a Pi 4. But a Pi 5 2 gigs, it's more than sufficient for
He
what
called you out specifically during the stream and said he had that conversation with you, by the way. John D did. He outed you as being in his inner circle, yeah.
Yeah, I did have a short conversation with him. It was very informal. It was kind of like, hey, do you have 2 minutes? And I was like, no, I'm at work. If you got questions, send me a message.
So a couple other things I wanted to cover on this. So I don't know if I got it out, but for the people saying, oh man, it's nothing new. I'm sorry, Street Fighter Alpha is new. That's a new title that we've never had before. And the other thing I do like about it, obviously, I want to continue
in this form factor.
In this, no. We've got it on play on other games, but we've never had a licensed Street Fighter 2 Alpha 2 cabinet. Yes, the Evercade has the Street Fighter Alpha series on it, but it's not a branded Street Fighter Alpha.
I understand what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
we did get that marquee though. So like,
yeah.
There's that marquee there.
I got a
Go ahead, Carl.
I would know. I own that company, by the way.
So every game on the list, 14 games plus the bonus one, I have on my modified Street Gen 1 modified cabinet, all the Alpha series, more than the ones they provide here. Run on the Pi 3, works absolutely no problem. So like Rastal just said, yeah, a Pi 5 is overkill, but you can't expect someone to go backwards, right? So a future proofed it, right? For the ideal of will there be somebody that wants better or higher memory? It's a Pi. You can swap it out easily, so that's not an issue there. There's going to be people that want to swap out the joysticks, right? Because they're going to want competition style joysticks, and so that's going to be an option for people to do. But to make it and come to mass market, you have to find the right combination of part sacrifices and try to give it. In my opinion, this is a because I have right behind me here is the Arcade1Up Ki Pro. In my vision, this is the Pro. This is the Pro version with a Pi 5.
Yeah.
And so my only concern, and he didn't confirm that the buttons on the full coin door are going to work, but I don't see any reason why that wouldn't.
Well, they lit up at least. That's
they lit up, but I don't see any reason why with a Pi it's just a button, right? So I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be functional. So if we look at the lessons learned, now the Pro was $1,000, but then they threw in all that other stuff: the stool, the 10 sign, the mat, the anti-fatigue mat. Was that $300 worth of difference, right? From the price that they're giving here. We can do without that stuff that wasn't needed for that thing, but they had to put something extra in there. So you're essentially looking at the Pro, the Pro cabinet with a Raspberry Pi 5, Raspberry Pi 5 in it. My only concern is the biggest complaint with the Pro was that they cheaped out on the controls, the joysticks. And I would have rather
they didn't cheap out, they just fucked up.
Yeah, they cheaped out. They put a
they didn't cheap out, Carl. They put arcade quality joysticks in there. They just put the fucking wrong ones.
Right. Okay. But is John D gonna do the same thing and put the wrong?
Oh, these are not arcade quality joysticks in these.
Right.
These are,
right. Yeah. And that's my only concern with it. And again, this is just a prototype, right? He wants the feedback, to think about and ponder on and see if they can work with the magic within the budget that they have for it. But I think if you're going to regurgitate a cabinet that's been done time and time again, the alphas hadn't been available, in the theme cabinet, but we've all been playing alpha on our modified,
not everybody has modified cabs, Carl. That's an assumption.
Right. Yeah. But we have multi-Cade Mondays for a reason, because there are tons of multi-Cades out here that we have. A lot of people have abilities to play these games. Yeah. So there's nothing. And again, this cabinet isn't necessarily for just us, right? I mean, we got tons of cabinets. This is going to this is made by the community for the community, but we can't expect everybody that's in this community to go out and buy this cabinet. Right?
No, there's people that are never going to buy this cabinet. There's people out there that 100% hate John D's guts, and even if they wanted it, wouldn't buy it for that reason. There's people out there that would never buy an Arcade1Up in the first place because they don't like the quality. There's people out there prefer multi-cades. This is 100% a continuation of what Arcade1Up does. This is for people who really like Arcade1Ups. And the only crinkle that might interest other people is the fact that it has a pie in it. Adam Kalb wrote me, and he wanted me to remind people this is an XXL, not an XL. I guess Arcade1Up's or Media1Up's not trying to get sued, even though this really is a XL cab.
All right. It's an XXL, just like the size sweatshirt I wear, guys. So for all you fatties out there, we stand together. Look, I think Carl's making a great point. Keep in mind, we cover this stuff. We're not, but the people that buy it, we throw information out there. You guys are grown people. We're not here to be, oh my God, I'm your savior. You know what I mean? We throw information out there. You're all successful human beings between the ages of usually 40 to 65 years old. You don't need someone on the internet tell you what to do. What I can say is I did get a little confused, right? Because, everyone was like, oh my God, it's everyone was excited. It's excitement at CES, right? And then like Rex did his show last night and Rex called it garbage. And he kept saying it was garbage. But if you guys actually watch his stream last night, he kept saying it was garbage. But then he would go back and say stuff like, but if you like Street Fighter, buy it. You know what I mean? Like even him, it was like, wait a minute. I thought it was garbage. Why should I buy it if I like Street Fighter? Like it kept going back and forth and back and forth. I think he wanted to hate it. And I understand why.
Just clickbait as always.
I think I understand why, but if you're going to pick a line, you got to stay on that line throughout the whole stream, right? You can't go wiffle waffle, right? What I can tell you guys is just out of my own opinion, I really like the Street Fighter Alpha 2 artwork. The other one, it doesn't do anything with it. So just from it, let's just start from an appearance point of view.
It's not horrible. It's just
from an appearance point of view, I like this. Now, I don't know the exact history behind this. I am not a Street Fighter 2 Alpha expert. I don't start every video reading my resume off to people. I think that's a little bit stupid.
I have played Street Fighter 2 since 1981 when it wasn't even out before. I am the first person to ever play it. Nobody else better play it.
So when I look at this, like when I looked at this one, I actually really like it. Now, accordingly, from what I understand, the Street Fighter Alpha was a conversion kit. You got a marquee bezel, maybe some control panel stuff. Didn't really have side panel artwork, maybe a sticker at the most, right? From what I heard from some of the guys, I asked him, I was like, so, Sean Misselbrook, he did the artwork, and I asked him about it, and I think what he said was, and keep in mind, I've talked to 10,000 people this week, so I can't remember everything, right? I think he said that this was like a poster that was made like a long time ago, and he took that poster and turned it into artwork, plus did some changes and fine tuning and stuff. Either way, I mean, the one reason people buy Arcade1Ups is they want to have something that looks like an arcade machine, but not the cost or the stress of owning one, right? And from an appearance point of view, I really like this one. Now the other one, I'll admit, I don't like. But from let's just say from an appearance point of view, looks good. Unfortunately, the machine wasn't fully ready, Mike.
Yeah. So, I just want to comment on the artwork as well, and give the other guys a chance to do it as well, Dubs, before we transition. I'm fine with the artwork on this. Again, there was no side artwork on the cab. I would prefer arcade accuracy, but at the same time, there's no side artwork for Alpha 2. So I think this looks good. I think they did a good job converting the poster. It's kind of like X-Men versus Street Fighter when they did that on the Arcade1Up. I'm glad they expanded the poster for the side art. I think it looks good. So no issue with this. And I love the way the white trim pops with the side art.
I've said time again.
This is my favorite.
If they make a good looking cabinet, that most of us don't have the woodwork and the art ability to make a cabinet that looks great. If you have a great cabinet that looks good, it's endless possibilities of what you can do with it. You can always upgrade. You can always put a PC in. You can, you can always do it. But we talked about the other companies, Rec Room Masters, stuff like that. Most of those cabinets don't look very attractive. They're typically just black cabinets, right? You know what I mean? So what these companies offer is a very attractive, beautiful cabinet that is modifiable to be what you want, but they have to give you a package that's affordable for people to get out the gate to start with. But to start with is a very attractive cabinet that most people would be fine with out the gate, right?
Yeah.
And my only concern with it, and again, this is a prototype. They had the power switch there, and John brought up in the live stream. They're doing that because a Pi you have to shut down properly, and then you still have all these other things that are powered. I just hope that they put the I/O relay switch in this box, so that's not required, because that's not required to have two switches, one to shut it down software wise, and then another to kill all the power. A relay switch would make that possible to be done with one switch. So I hope they go that route as opposed to having two off-on switches.
Quick thoughts on the appearance. Nostalgic. That was great, Carl. That was fantastic.
I think it actually looks pretty good. I think they've done a good job with the design. I actually don't mind the Street Fighter 2 design. I know, Mike, you said it looks like crap. I think he's for a first generation product. I actually think it's really, really good.
But it's not a first generation product. John's been around for years. He's been making
it's a first generation product.
You can't give him that pass. He knows the difference.
But he's not coming out with a crap product. So it doesn't look bad. Like they all
looks, and I'm really sorry to Sean, because I talked to Sean afterwards. Sean actually reached out to me and asked me the stuff like this. I like the poster. I like the bottom. I'm even okay with the gray. It's the big Street Fighter and the 2 on the side I hate. This looks like what you would see at one of those, like, and it's a personal preference. It's a personal preference too. I get that some people like it, but I will tell you, like, if you turn the Street Fighter 2 on the front, the World Warrior on the front, I think this is the nicest looking home arcade I've ever seen in my life. But I hate the side art so much and think it looks so offensive and so against what arcade cab recreations is. And even John D said himself, he's like, I grew up in the arcades. Arcade culture is so important to me. And then you put something out like this, which is just, complete, like, oh, we're just going to do our own thing with the artwork, kind of like what they did with NFL Blitz and stuff like this. I will fucking lay it down on the line. I will not buy this cab if it looks like this. And this is the only one I want.
I got to tell you, man, as much as I understand your point, you can't compare this to NFL Blitz. It's not the same. They're using mostly original art that was released for the game. They're just not using the exact side art that you're referring to. So it's not like they took modern day artwork.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair statement.
It's not the same as NFL Blitz, but my perspective is I think it looks good. I think visually it still looks good. Maybe it's not what you wanted. Maybe it's not what you were hoping for.
Yeah, but it's enough. Like I'm buying these because I like the idea of arcade recreation. This is my personal preference, and I'm stating this. Sure. And like you hear John talk, and he's like, "I'm all about the arcade recreation." But then you release something like this, and it's got like a fucking art project on the side, and I'm just like, fuck it, I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't hate it as much as Michael do, but like especially with this view here, this reminds me of the things I always talked about at games, where you just have too many logos. This pinball machine here.
Yeah,
like, you got too many logos here. I know it's a Street Fighter too. I don't need to have it on the control panel and on the side and on the backlit marquee.
Guys,
it's totally unnecessary.
Opinions aren't right and wrong. So the people in chat are like, Michael B's wrong. It's my opinion. Like I even said,
be done better so that you get a aesthetically pleasing, beautiful cabinet. We don't need to hear 4 times, right? Because on both sides, twice on the front, that's too many banners for Street Fighter 2. I think you could use your creativity a lot better with this cabinet and make it look like the Alpha 2. You sit this next to the Alpha 2, you ain't got Alpha 2 plastered all over the place. You took artistic liberties and made the graphics be the main focus of the sides.
So let's go ahead, Nostalgia, real quick.
I was going to say, out of the 2, I do like the Alpha 2 machine better. I think it looks better, but I also like the artwork of Alpha 2 over top of the artwork of Street Fighter 2. So that's a personal preference thing. And Mike, you're right. This is a personal preference.
There you go.
Opinions are like noses. Everybody has one, right? Like the thing with this is I think John's done a reasonably good job with the design. I would genuinely hope that the buttons and sticks are upgraded over an Arcade1Up. You said everything is the same quality.
Well, no, we
That'll
don't
be a
know about
massive
that, because what John said is what Arcade1Up did is they went with low quality Samwa clones. What John has indicated that he's going with HAP clones. So this may be maybe somewhat better. Like, no one expects him to put real arcade controls in there. John's like, I can't afford to put real controls in there. No one expects that. It's just you don't understand the downgrade Arcade1Up buttons are, even compared to the stuff that's in the ACT games of the iArcade. I mean, that's the bar you should be shooting for. You're not trying to put real arcade controls in there, just ones that don't suck.
Yeah. Arcade1Up, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how big of an Arcade1Up fan you are. They have the worst quality buttons and sticks out of any product that has ever been released in this space. I would actually argue that the iconic arcade machine that you bought at GameStop for $250, Mike, might have it might have better buttons and sticks.
So here's my stance on this. Like, for me personally, I know I'm animated, but I'm really excited about this product. You guys know how I feel about Arcade1Up XL cabs. I want more of them. So the concept of this really made me excited. And I said, I think he's doing Street Fighter. I really felt that it was going to be Alpha or Third Strike. And I'm excited for the Alpha cab, but I'm excited for people who want that. I have zero nostalgia for Alpha. I'm not going to pay $800 or $700 American for an Alpha cab. Street Fighter 2 World Warrior, on the other hand, huge nostalgia. I fucking love this cabinet. I love what they did there. Front on, this thing is amazing. But honestly, the side art, for me personally, is a deal breaker, and I wouldn't buy it. And it breaks my heart. I'll just keep paying my Arcade1Up HS1.
Let's move on from the art. I think what we can say to kind of put a pin in the appearance discussion is, if you like Arcade1Ups and if you like the way they look, you're gonna like these machines from an appearance point of view.
Can I ask a clarifying question that's not about the artwork?
Because I wanted to move on to the games list and then something.
Yeah,
I'm not getting. Hold on, one second.
Yeah.
Big B73, go fuck yourself. I'm not getting one for free. You're a fucking idiot. Have a nice day.
Why would you say I want one for free? John, if you're listening, I will happily take Mike's free arcade machine that you were going to send to him. Send that over to me. But
unsubscribe from the channel and go fuck yourself.
Let me ask an actual question, because I really don't know a ton about the machine in general outside of a very, very short communication I had with John, and it was strictly on the Raspberry Pi. It was on nothing else. Carl, you had said there's 2 power switches on this thing?
Yes.
So
a power switch
explain that to me.
On the control panel that will shut it down software wise, because it's a Pi. And then there's a light switch at the top. You can see at the top right on under the speaker that turns off the backlit, the lights to the keyboard, to the coin door, the marquee, and whatever, all the other power.
John wasn't kidding.
And again, this is prototype. This is prototype.
The 333 that John was hyping all week, the 333, a lot of people were wondering what it meant. It just meant that this thing has 333 on-off switches, guys. That's it. But yeah, there's the hard power switch, I guess, up here, which I'm hoping they move that somewhere else. To turn off like some of the main power to the lights and stuff, your marquee and the coin door and stuff. And then there's I guess there's a power switch somewhere on the control panel for doing a
soft shutdown,
a safe soft shutdown of the Raspberry Pi, I suppose.
Yeah,
so
you need a soft shutdown for the Pi, because the Pis are like arguably one of the worst for corrupting data on an SD card. Correct. If you power it down during any sort of a read-write cycle, it's done. Like, you're going to jack up your SD card and you're going to have to make a new image. So having the safe shutdown makes total sense, and you can accomplish that many ways. A lot of Arcade1Ups have the safe shutdown. You press it down and it actually takes a second. You can see it's like shutting down, and then it shuts it all down. What, Carl, you were talking about is a relay to shut down all of the power on everything else?
Correct. Yeah, once the Pi turns off, the relay will kill the power to everything else after it's booted down. I did that with my Marvel superheroes mod. I put it in a couple of them, and it works well. Obviously they wouldn't have a aftermarket version of it, they would have a,
Box says no relay.
right.
No
Well, yeah,
relay
it's
today.
clearly no relay.
No
There's no
relay
relay
today.
today. This is a prototype, but John definitely is something he's going to look into, because it doesn't make any sense. Again, like you were saying, you sell this with a Pi and not because people are going to, even with 2 buttons, you don't want to go that route because people are going to hit that one on the top because it's glowing
Well,
right in your
that
face.
depends on if they're independent from one another, right? So if that switch up top just kills the power to the marquee and the coin door, then it's actually irrelevant, right? If you can power down the Pi and you can have that switch on or off, it doesn't make a difference. So, but what
Right,
you're
but we
saying
don't know
is to
that
be
it's
able to
killing
control
down
everything.
I think it's killing the Pi as well. It's killing all the power. So my concern is people hit that switch and not do the soft one, and then you're going to have a corrupt image. So again, a relay is very inexpensive. It doesn't make any sense not to put a relay in it, especially with a Pi.
Yeah. Now, so moving on for that, you got your basics from an Arcade1Up. Well, in XXL format, you're getting a 19-inch BOE. You're getting the coin door that lights up. It's a full coin door. And of course, because it's a Pi, you'll be able to get HDMI, because Raspberry Pi 5 should have 2 HDMI outs. So one goes to the monitor, the other one goes to, you throw it on a capture card, or I'm sorry, HDMI splitter, etc. So, yes. Mike, cheer up, man. Cheer up. I think he was trolling you. He put a bit smiley face after his comment. I think he was he was messing with you.
I'm worked up about this. Like,
well, you guys got
like
way too dude. We spent 20 minutes talking about the art. I thought that would be 3 minutes. Let's move on to the games list. I asked
before
the chat,
before we do that, there's another feature you didn't mention.
If you mention the fucking artwork, I'm gonna just hit end stream. If you mention the artwork,
good. I'm fucking done with this. HDMI out for streaming. I know this is a feature a lot of us have wanted for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know one of the things Sean's doing is he's really trying to, especially bringing in somebody like Justin Wong, target the fighting game community, especially the fighting game community on Switch, to want these. That HDMI out for streaming, I hope it works better than the Killer Instinct did initially, but that's an awesome feature. I love that.
Yeah, it's a great feature. Yeah, it's a super
The
cool
Pi
feature.
5 has 2 HDMI outs, right? So you can have technically 2 monitors.
Correct.
And all you would need to do is have one running signal to your display, and then you would mirror the same out. And I think you can actually independently control the resolution for each of the HDMI outs. So you should be able to get a proper 1080p signal out of one that keeps the aspect ratio correct and displays nicely.
I'm never let an MG whisper in my ear again during mini golf. That's it.
MG is the best. All right, so
he has
games
a good
list.
point, Mike.
Come on, we got to move on here. Games list. What do you guys think of the chat about the games list? You're getting the alpha games. Yeah, a ton of these games you've already seen before from other home arcade companies, but this is the first one. I'm assuming that John D does not just want to make one cabinet and move on with his life. Like, I'm assuming that's not the plan. So I'm assuming if this is successful, him and Iconic Arcade will release other games. What I do hope, my only thought is, it'd be really cool to see a themed cabinet that is a game that we haven't seen yet. And even though you're going to scream and cry, and here, I'll do the script for the drama channels. I can already play Qbert, or I can already play Robotron or Smash TV on 10,000 other devices in my house. That's not the point. The point is, do you want to play it on this form factor? So for the drama channels, there you go. I just wrote your script. But I would like to see a game that we haven't seen yet from Arcade1Up, At Games, iArcade. Like, give us something interesting. There's some out there that
they did. Cool. Third Strike, Alpha.
Mike, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the next one. I'm talking like theme.
So,
because I'll be honest, guys. How many of you out there give a shit that the Street Fighter Alpha and Third Strike games are on here? How many of you give a shit? Probably not. A lot of people, when they look at this machine, the only thing they see is Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
That's all they see on here. Street Fighter 2. Right? But, a themed cabinet, some other game, I don't care. Give us Crazy Climber. I don't give a shit. Just give us something different.
So let's call a spade here and be realistic. I don't know what John D will do. Like, if you think John D is going to do a Qbert, John D has this weird mindset about certain things, about games that he thinks will sell and stuff like that. Like, he'll openly say now, he wouldn't say it before, but like, he submarined the pole position. He submarined Qbert. Like, when there was poles out there, he intentionally submarined the Qbert pole. And like, So I'm hopeful that they'll do stuff. I hope that it's more arcade accurate in the future. And I hope they do cool retro stuff, because I think, me personally, I know that's what I've been waiting for. I don't give a fuck about most late 90 games. I want like really cool 80s games. And, you know, I don't know if that's really John's alley.
I'm talking new theme, new games. I just wrote that in the chat. That's what I'm trying to say, guys. Like, I don't mind if it's got other games on that, you know, come in a package licensing deal. I get that, right? But let's be honest, guys. A lot of you out there want, let's just say, even though the licensing would be a challenge, a WrestleFest arcade. Think about it. Yes, we have a million ways to play WrestleFest. But have we had a WrestleFest licensed home arcade product, for instance? Does that make sense, Mike? That's what I'm trying to say. New. Right now, this is new, but is it new? It's not new. There's a ton of shit on here we've seen already. Does that make sense? That's what I'm trying to say. New.
Yeah, the next cabinet should be Tekken.
Guys,
Yeah, like Tekken, Virtual
I would love to
Fighter,
see it.
new, Soul
I know.
Calibur.
See, P-Dubs, you are right 100%. And if John plays his cards right, what he's going to do is he's going to release a cabinet that he thinks is going to be like an easy sell. Street Fighter 2 is a very popular franchise. Lots of people are going to be happy to buy this. It's going to hopefully generate some cash flow. Hopefully they've got profit. Then they can reinvest in it. They can buy licenses. Maybe even the next one, we're not going to see something new. Maybe it'll be 3-4 machines down the road before you're going to start seeing new IP that they're willing to take the risk on. But to go and as like a Qbert as their first machine would be way too high risk.
I'm just saying new. I was giving examples of shit we haven't seen before.
So the other thing that we're not talking about here, because this is really iconic arcade, John is working with other companies too. John's next cab that comes out might have nothing to do with iconic arcade. It might be a Unico branded cabinet. That might be an XL as well. It might be Neo Geo. Maybe a big red XL, which would be amazing. Or maybe it's Capcom versus SNK. We don't know.
Or Donkey Kong.
Whatever we do know, it's going to be a John D joint.
So overall, there's a lot of pros and cons to this thing. We put a poll in the chat. We said, hey, guys, are you interested or have you already pre-ordered one of these iconic arcade Street Fighter arcades? 28% said yes. 45% said no. And there's a healthy chunk there of 28% of people waiting on more info. So, for instance, we haven't seen the full-on user interface. We haven't seen it actually running on the Pi 5. I think they did confirm during their stream that it was running on a Pi 4. We haven't seen like the full shebang, right? So that's what sucks sometimes with CES. I mean, let's be honest, guys. If we're going to give Glen credit, which I have and many of you have, for his prototype not being ready by CES, I mean, we have to give the same credit to Media OneUp. You know, like, hey, okay, you showed us as much as you possibly could. We look forward to seeing the final version down the road, right? I mean, that's only fair, right? From a news broadcasting standpoint. So there you go.
Yeah, so I would love to see Soul Calibur, Dead or Alive, or Tekken. I don't want to see another Street Fighter after this cabinet from anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I get it. I get it.
I'm not a really big fighter, but those are the fighters I really like.
I get it too. It's a safe bet. Why do you think Arcade1Up did Street Fighter every year and NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat? Because they sell. People buy them. It's a safe bet for your first machine to do something you know will sell versus taking the risk and throwing it all out there and failing completely, right? Like, what if he did release a Tekken cab and none of y'all bought it? You know? Be like, wow, that was a one and done, out of business. Does that make sense? Mike, go ahead and take care of that super chat since it's directed.
B. Kirby, Chicago Arcade Guy, we missed your super chat last week, buddy. I'm so sorry about that. Again, huge super chat this week. You don't got to do that, man. I agree with you almost everything. I disagree with on the artwork subject. You have my word. Screenshot this. I will buy you the artwork you want. If you get this cab from John D, shoot me a message. Not getting the cab from John D 100%. But I appreciate that. And you don't have to do that. Like, it's not, I appreciate that super, but it's just what I want isn't necessarily the right thing. I said it to John directly to his face. I don't like the artwork on the stream. I told them, run a poll. Just run a appropriate poll. Don't have it done like, fucking your lackeys doing a poll. Do it on your website and do it appropriate. And, do a real poll. And if it comes back that people love that artwork, go ahead
glad you
and
mentioned that.
do it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. John, see, when Arcade1Up would release stuff, the only time they would try to get opinion before release was when like David McIntosh would get sneaky, go into a Reddit group. And you guys remember when he released the Time Crisis photo under some fake name? Like, hey guys, I got this picture of the Time Crisis cap. And sure enough, they took everyone's feedback and they made changes before it was released. Instead of just honestly asking their customers, is there anything you want us to change? I will say this. John seems to be doing what At Games does. And, although I'm pretty grumpy with At Games right now, think about it, guys. How many times has At Games made changes to physical appearance because of our bitching and moaning in this community before it gets released? Keep in mind, everything seen at CES were prototypes. Prototypes. There's a good chance by the time this thing is shipping or whatever, there could be some changes, right? Or they might, John might add a third option saying, hey, here's what the artwork would actually look like. Let us know if you want a version with just the little square on the side panel like Michael B wants. Oh my God! You know what I mean? So, hopefully they make change. Hopefully there'll be some changes. I loved B Kong's video where he pointed out all the flaws on the machine that he did. That was a great video for him to make. And it was a really good video. You guys should watch it. Opportunities for improvement. Will they be able to fix everything? Probably not. But if they can nail down 3 or 4 things from that list, it helps. Go ahead.
I think this is a really good first effort, and I look forward to seeing what else they're going to make. This might not be the one that's for me. I love the front of the World Warrior cab. I'm not going to say anything else. But this is a really good start, and I'm excited to see what else could come out of this. Like I said, it's not just, Iconic Arcade, and it's amazing we're talking about this company now because kind of a joke company before this. Now they're, a serious player. And then we'll see what else they do. So, I hope this does well, and I hope we get more XXL arcades because that's what I wanted to build my arcade out of, and it doesn't look like Arcade1Up was going to do that for us.
And I agree. I love my Pro, KI Pro, great size, great build, width, everything. I love everything about it. And so, again, we all said, this is the cab they should have came out with first. Well, this is the cab that Media OneUp and Iconic Arcade is coming out with first, right? So, again, it's a prototype, so there's going to be some improvements. That's the whole point of taking it to CES so they can get feedback so that they can make whatever adjustments they can do. So I'm excited to see what the final product is.
Well, guys, we've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're gonna get wrapping up here. Big shout out to the live chat, man. Holy cow, we've got over 300.
Everybody except for Big
watching.
B73. Shout out to every. No, thank you. I'm sorry, guys. I need a Snickers.
I feel like we've ridden a wave of emotions this week, so much so that Mike B once again has attacked our live viewers in our chat.
I'm
every
sorry.
Show, dude. Every show. Have some damn respect.
I'm sorry.
First, you want to put
very
ads
passionate
on
about
every
this
3
stuff.
minutes. P-Dubs has to go in before the show, turn off the ads so that way we don't piss people off.
But
Didn't you
hey,
come
were you
on?
guys happy there were no mid-roll ads over the last 2 hours? You got to give me a thumbs up for that. You got to like the video
Yes,
on the
because
way out.
P-Dubs
for
did that. That had nothing to do with me.
That's why you're
All
so
of
grumpy
you-
right now.
All of you owe me a thumbs up on this video. You got to click that like button on the way out because I did not turn on mid-roll ads. So you fucking pay me back. If I don't see 100 likes on this video by tomorrow, I'm turning on mid-roll ads next week.
Patrick, likes are worthless. We need super chats. That's what we need.
No.
We need 70 super chats before the show is over. That's what we need.
Nostalgia and I need super chat.
70
These guys
of them.
don't. They
Nothing.
don't need super chat.
All right.
Nothing
But
makes
Patrick, you did it the other day as well. But the point I always make with that, with Patrick and Michael, most of the people are going to watch this in reruns. That stuff in the chat isn't part of that until you bring it into it like you just
Look,
did.
I
So
love
always
people that watch
good.
us on replay. There's some people that only watch us on replay so they can skip around to their favorite parts and not have to do the whole show. But I got to say, man, the people who are here live every week from start to finish, you guys are my favorite viewers, and I appreciate you so much, and so do the rest of the guys. But we're going to get out of here. Again, when I hit the end button, it'll automatically send you over to Glen's interview with Galaga Guy. Make sure you guys tune into that for some late night arcade chat. Carl, whenever you're ready, send these people on their way. Have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, guys, we appreciate you. We thank you for tuning in. Like P-Dub said, we appreciate you coming in every Friday and being live with us. We got one more super chat. Mike, keep being Mike. Just stop talking about that damn artwork.
Mike,
Shut up, Carol.
We appreciate you. We love you. And until next time, we'll see you on VR or on the web.